Meta Monday. Welcome to Masters of the Metaverse here on the Zombie Orpheus Entertainment channel on Twitch. I'm your host and GM, James Durham. Joining me at the virtual table, I have Matt Vassell, Christian Doyle, Ethan Bugeaud, and Luke Edmondson. We've got Leo back on tech in the real studio, making sure that it still exists and that the equipment did not fly out the window or disappear in the crisis of COVID.
It could happen.
Is that a danger? Could that happen?
I think theoretically anything is possible.
Good on Leo.
So what exactly is Masters of the Metaverse anyway? It's just the most interactive live stream RPG on the planet. That's right. You guys, our audience, can alter, influence, and add to the story live and in real time as it's happening. You can check out our store right now to see all the ways that you can influence and change things. You can help out our cast. You can make things harder on them. You can do all kinds of wonderful and crazy things. And I suggest you do them. In addition to our store, we also have weekly supporter polls where our subscribed supporters get to vote to give benefits to our different cast members. In addition to our polls, supporters also have access to all kinds of other fun perks and benefits. And if you're not a supporter, you should check out how you can become one. So I've got those poll results. Does anybody want to know how they did? Anybody?
I do.
Unless it's exactly how I did last week, and then just don't say anything to me.
Okay, well, this week, Luke, you get +2 to a roll and +10 health. Matt, you get +4 to a roll and +20 health. Ethan, you get +6 to a roll and +10 health.
Oh my goodness.
Nice.
And Christian, you get +2 to a roll and +10 health.
What'd I just say?
Yeah, I
Bet
know.
you would get the same thing as last time.
That is the same exact thing as last time.
That means nobody voted for me again.
Actually, no, I was the only person that no one voted for the record. So just
Damn right. Garbage boy, stink man.
Hey,
Stay in the trash.
Speaking of supporters, I've got some special supporters I would like to thank in this episode. Ryan Morrison, thank you. Matthew O'Brien, thank you. And John Knapp, thank you. So what happened last time on Masters of the Metaverse? Well, our heroes are once again going to metaverses they've been to before, and in this case, it's Metaverse 742, to put time back on track. And while they've yet to decipher their antagonist's motives, they are coming closer and closer to catching. In 742, he has altered the timeline, helping rebel forces acquire the highly valuable Z42 genetic material, the most important piece of the Trinity's path to a perfected clone army. In the avatars of elite, though short-lived clone soldiers, our heroes have traveled into the occupied zone to get Z42 back. Having played a rousing game of headball, tried out alcoholic beverages, and taken down scores of ruthless thugs, they now know the location of their prize, the near-impregnable fortress that is Hyde Tower within the fortified Old Spire district of Cape Town. All that stands between them and their prize is a veritable army of security forces, tanks, drones, and high-tech defense weapon systems. It's going to take a well-crafted plan, determination, or just pure luck to make their way through it. Let's see what happens next. You are still in the rather dingy casino/strip club bar that you have cleared out. There's a lot of blood and bodies and gore everywhere from the combat and things that took place. Johnny Six Fingers has hobbled away in the power armor that you traded him, probably to die horribly from the drugs that will be injected into his system to try and stabilize him at some point.
We're live streaming that, by the way, from the internal cameras.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And of course, you know that it won't be long now until word starts to spread that clones and power armor have shown up in Cape Town. And then everyone with a half-baked plan and a little courage will be overcome by greed hunting you down. The throbbing music is still going, even with all the dead bodies gone. It's rather unpleasant after when it's all that's around is the music. It's kind of just annoying. It just sounds like defective machinery for the most part.
So dubstep.
Yeah.
I imagine we should leave. Probably.
You're not wrong. Here is
I-
definitely not the place to be.
Oh
But
no.
I feel as if we are no closer to our goal than we were.
We have directions, which is good. And frankly, as much as anything else, if we stay here for too long, I'm gonna start to get gunk in the actuators and the armor. There's gonna be. I've already picked out 3 finger bones. It was rough.
All right, let us be off.
As you exit the building and enter the street, which had once had a fair amount of foot traffic in it, it's now fairly deserted out front. Perhaps word of the carnage has spread.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Maybe we should disguise up a little bit.
More than we already have? We still have the fishnet shirt.
It's true. It is an original.
Right. Yes. These probably are sufficient. I'm sorry. I don't know what I was thinking.
Well, and
Well,
most of the clothes back there are horribly perforated.
At the moment, the only one who's not sticking out like a sore thumb is yourself, 11, because you're not in power armor anymore.
That's right. I feel so small.
Everyone else is in suits of power armor with raggedy clothing hanging off of it.
I'm also the only one that's completely clean.
This is also true.
So here's an idea. What if we left the power armor behind and set it to self-destruct?
But I like it.
Who all is laser proof? Show of hands?
Not me.
Just me then.
I forgot they gave you the laser proof. That's pretty sick.
So cool.
Sure, let's go with that. Okay, we just have to keep a low profile. Power armor's probably not the best idea. But
Would it look better if we did rub all of the blood we now
Hashtag
have
Met's a
access
point.
to on it?
no,
Would we fit in?
that would look exactly the same.
I mean, there's already a lot of blood, but I feel like we could make it much more worse.
Oh, we got a tip in the store that didn't get said out loud there, guys. I believe we just got a meta point.
Oh,
Thank you, Jack.
Ooh, thank
Oh,
you.
thank you.
Thank you. As much as it pains me, losing the armor might be the right course.
I guess.
Just accept that right now we're part of something, remember? We talked about this. We can do stuff right now.
That is true.
We're clearly, avatars.
Okay.
Mechanical question for the GM here.
Shoot.
Can we segment the armor at all? Is it an all or nothing deal, or could we keep, the chest plate?
You can
Or-
keep the chest plate, but if someone decides to target an area that is not protected by armor, you will lose the benefit of the armor.
Sure. Like if we, but how ridiculous are we looking like a toddler in plate mail at that point? Or what?
It's not that bulky. It's closer to used pop culture references to stormtrooper armor in sizes.
Oh, okay.
Is mine bulkier since I have the heavy stuff?
No, but you are a larger individual.
Ah.
Yes, like physically, slightly larger proportions. Not taller, but more muscular. You have a significant amount more time spent in the physical room training, whereas the others had a lot more of a technical training that was given to them.
Well, if it's just stormtrooper armor, then gentlemen, I have a solution. Let us go back into the club and find where the strippers change out of their street clothes and put those on.
Okay.
I don't
could
know.
do-
I don't know what street clothes are, but I very badly would like to wear some.
I think it's like the fishnet shirt.
Yes.
That
The-
seems about
They're
right.
non-work uniforms. And because they were in the special stripper vault, I believe it's called, they would not have been damaged by the blast.
This is true, though you do have to pass through an area that was horribly damaged by grenades that were thrown back in there at the
Yeah.
start of the fight.
17, you are the youngest and the wisest of us.
Truly.
I watch a lot of newsfeed vids.
I will go on record that probably only one of us should have their face uncovered at the same time, given that we're clones.
Right. Yes.
Right.
I keep not remembering not everyone here is a clone. It's weird, isn't
It's
it?
stupid. They look so stupid.
They look incredibly dumb.
Ooh, I need my own face.
There are a lot of variations and a lot of imperfections among those variations.
I'm not the same height or gender as you.
Don't you feel like a big man?
Or whatever.
Or whatever.
Or whatever.
Or whatever.
Back where they change their clothes, you do find a variety of pieces of interesting, mostly bright and neon type colored clothing. There's a fair mix of pleather among it as well.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent.
I've opted for some sparkly leggings underneath some black booty shorts and no shirt.
Could I get one of you with the makeup kit to very quickly make me a tattoo on my right arm?
That sounds suspiciously like art.
No, I mean, it's serving a purpose. It's fake. We could even specifically copy one of the other arm tattoos in the club. But I feel like having one arm out, even if I did want to hold on to some of the stuff, would be good.
God, you old people are so sentimental. All right, sure.
I am your older brother. I do not know why you have to talk to me this way, but also thank you very much.
Because
It's always that way with the middle child.
Mm.
This again? This again?
You
Fine.
just don't
If this is how you're
understand.
going to be, I am going to wear a shirt.
Come on!
No?
One of us has to not wear a shirt, and it's
Ooh,
not
a
gonna
rain
be
slicker.
That is
I'll just wear it open, okay? I'll wear it open.
It is quite the outfit.
This is a good look.
very good.
Need the snake.
A snake would
A snake around
Like
your
a
neck.
big,
like
a
a
big
scarf.
white snake, like a
yeah,
scarf.
or a scarf, like a snake like a scarf, or a scarf like a snake, if that's how you roll.
That is a good point.
I would rock that look from dusk till dawn.
Mm-hmm.
I want to find the biggest denim vest in this place and put it on over the chest piece after I take the arms off of it.
You're able to do so, but as you are, again, a very muscular individual already, it is a very tight-fitting denim vest.
I think this is good.
Oh, I love it. You could be the Canadian one.
I could be the Canadian one.
I will wear chaps and only chaps.
Very strong.
I think at least two of us should dress somewhat like each other in case we have to play Future Man.
Oh, Future
Oh,
Man is
Future
good.
Man.
I do love Future Man.
Crush is not.
All right. Let's not give away the plan too early then.
Very
Excellent.
good.
These look enough like chaps. I think we've got this.
Yes.
We could just cut out the middle bit.
It's kind of breezy in the just chaps.
Well, and the power armor underneath, obviously.
Yes.
Mhm.
Chaps over power armor, one on either arm, and a scarf.
It's very good.
Chaps.
Very fetching.
Yes, thank
The
you.
scarf really completes the ensemble.
There are a lot of rivets in these chaps.
There are.
So we walk out of that club looking like the scariest pride parade ever.
Yes.
Mhm.
A mixture of interesting fashion choices and powered armor pieces.
Very Mad Max.
Isn't
It
that the
is.
goal?
Which now makes you fit in rather well. If there was still anybody out in the street, there's a few
They're
derelict-looking
not.
individuals. There's a few derelict-looking individuals peeking over piles of rubble at the front of the club, and a few of them that have had creeped close to the doors as though they were going to try and go in and scavenge what they could, but they scurry away like mice as you exit.
No,
So-
go in, children. Have fun. Go wild.
Yeah, we're all filthy freebirds here, no problems.
My genetic makeup is a mess.
Mine too. I cannot genetically roll my tongue. I'm just kidding, though. I can.
I certainly don't know.
I know we all
where my
can.
genetic
Okay, I
features
know we
Right.
can all do it.
Right.
All right, let's
Find Hightower.
High Tower. Yeah, you're not exactly sure where it is, but with the technical readouts you have, which could be a little bit outdated, it's probably about 30 miles from here, further into the city.
Well, for starters, let's look for a tower, in particular, one that is very high.
Sound reasoning.
I think that is a good place for us to start.
Mm-hmm.
It is allegedly in Old Spire, which is about 30 miles from your present location, if old intelligence maps are to be believed about the occupied zone of Cape Town.
Well, I don't want to hump it 30 miles.
There are a variety of rather suspect-looking vehicles parked out front that probably belong to individuals that you killed at this point.
Excellent.
I think
I will
Are
go
any
through
of them
my
of the
ring of
hover or
chaps
flying
for
variety?
keys.
No, there are at best combustion engine vehicles, severely outdated. Most of them seem to be combinations of several combustion engine vehicles cobbled together into one functioning one.
Awesome.
I think that we should all get matching motorcycles.
That's going to be a problem.
They don't have to be the same, but I think that all of us should have motorcycles. I just feel like, aesthetically speaking, that is the strongest choice we can make with the disguises we have adopted.
Agreed. You're the oldest and the wisest, as I've always said.
Thank you.
Or at least as I said 5 minutes ago.
Yes.
Well, there are 2 motorcycles, but there are not 4.
Frontsies!
I'm
I
not
will
really
ride on the
feeling
back.
motorcycle with these chaps, so I'll look for like a dune buggy or something.
There's something you might call a dune buggy, in that it is a chassis with an exposed seat and a steering wheel and no real body to speak of around it.
Hell yes.
You can clearly see the motor.
That's 3 of us.
I could pitch.
It's quite individuals. I mean, there's no other seats, but there's
Oh, that's nice.
okay. Good. All right.
We've
Welcome, Raiders. Welcome. Yes. In fact, there is a shotgun mounted to what you might call a roll cage, but it's not really a cage. It's just a single bar that goes over the top.
That seems good enough.
This is so hazardous.
Yes, it is suspiciously
Just
hazardous.
lunacy.
The wheels and tires are also decidedly oversized for the frame of the vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, excuse me. This would be unsafe of me to ride a motorcycle without this. Excuse me, sir. May I have your studded leather gloves? I'm about to ride on my motorcycle, and it would be unsafe without gloves.
You might have been able to acquire some gloves back in the dressing room, but again, the streets are pretty barren at this moment.
This is unfortunate. Usually when I say, excuse me, sir, loud enough, somebody listens.
Unfortunately, your violence has kind of scared people off. You know, the
This-
explosions and shooting doesn't tend to attract positive attention.
You know what? This will be okay. I'll just be careful.
look at us on our motorcycle, 7.
We're very, very cool.
We are
And
very cool.
You are fairly
7-11. We're not always doing business, but we're always open.
Mm-hmm.
You're fairly certain that you can hear approaching vehicles in the distance.
Mhm.
Oh, this is exciting.
Loud
Perhaps we should
combustion engine vehicles.
Oh, maybe we're being chased by one of those freeborn biker gangs.
We could get more motorcycles that
We
way.
certainly could. We should
And I-
get a couple of remounts as well in case our motorcycles get tired.
Oh,
Yes.
that's a smart idea.
Yes.
This old technology does need to be fed and watered.
Now, you
Very
believe the combustion engines are gasoline driven. While there are no gas gauges on any of the three vehicles you have selected, in fact, you're not even sure if any of the three run, as you have not started any of them yet.
Oh, well then, let's
Let's-
get that going.
Give it a try, shall we?
You are
Start
able
machine.
to start all three vehicles with a little bit of effort. One of the motorcycles requires that you push start it
Engine on!
before you're able to get it going. And in the case of the open-topped vehicle, a tremendous amount of black and gray exhaust churns out of it as it starts up. And it doesn't seem to lessen as it is going along. And there's the distinct smell of something burning as you begin rolling down what was one point a road.
We are exceedingly trackable right now. This is very exciting.
No, no.
As you get
we're
underway,
blending in, Seven.
As you get underway, you can, over the sound of the open-topped vehicle, you can't hear approaching vehicles anymore. But just as you're rounding a corner away from the dive establishment, you can see that there are several, again, cobbled together combustion engine vehicles coming into view with numerous unsavory-looking characters hanging onto them in very unsafe places or about them as they are moving down the road. And they are most certainly armed. One of them lets out a loud whooping noise, and they begin to give chase.
Hey!
We're gonna pull up. Should we pull over and let them pass?
I
They
think
appear to
that
be
is
in a hurry.
correct.
I think they're coming after us. That is so cute.
Oh no, that's terrible.
Oh,
Oh,
they're all
man.
going to die, and it will be very sad.
Maybe we can outrun them on our pathetic vehicles that they also have, and there's less of us. We can do this.
This seems fair.
Which one of these things is the throttle? I'm sorry, I know I'm the pilot. I should know these things.
Well, you pilot things that actually are well constructed and make sense. I am going to
They're
assume.
fairly primitive, but being that they're fairly primitive, they're also fairly easy to operate.
Well, look at me. I'm Evil Knievel.
Though you have a strong suspicion about the safety features on any of these three vehicles. That suspicion being that they are non-existent.
That makes sense.
In a matter of moments, you are speeding down very, very terribly maintained roads. There are occasionally burning piles of trash and wrecked vehicles in them that you have to swerve around. And the group behind you is also very enthusiastically giving chase. There are at least 4 or 5 strange combustion-type vehicles in pursuit, most of them with at least a half dozen individuals hanging on in very precarious places. At one point, as you are accelerating away and reaching a very high rate of speed, going over one of the bumps, one of these individuals tumbles out the side and hits the road and is crunched under the wheels of the vehicle behind him as they continue to give chase without stopping.
Oh,
Does
They
that
have no
one count?
regard for their own fodder.
Does that one count? Do we get credit for that one?
That's definitely ours.
Okay.
yes.
Okay. Just
If you're going to attempt to elude them, I will require driving tests. Otherwise, we're going to go and get into initiative and do a moving combat. But I'm going to let you decide how you want to proceed from here.
7.
I
Tell
think
us what
we
to
should.
do.
Let's skedaddle, and then if we can't do that, we can blow them all up.
A wise and good plan, as
Thank you.
always, 7.
Perhaps
Thank you.
a distraction?
Oh, that could be good. Which one of us is carrying the grenades right now?
That would be 17.
Oh, yes. Here.
Let me ride over.
And reach them over up to you. There. Here. Okay.
Thank you.
Means there are no doors or windows to prevent contact. It's not exceptionally difficult to pass items between what you might call a motorcycle and what you might call a car.
I can throw very far.
Oh, let me pass this over. Hold on.
And the third person in the chain. By the time you have passed it to 11, they have started to gain ground upon you and are fairly close, discharging firearms, but due to their rapid rate of speed and unstable shooting platforms, these rounds are not coming anywhere near you.
Probably blow up one of the broken vehicles nearby. That sounds like a thing.
All right, you got it.
I
Kobe,
believe that's their way of asking for grenades. Let's oblige.
Yes!
I'm right behind you. Toss a grenade. Kobe. No, look. It's not a word that means anything in this time, but trust me.
No, it is not. In that case, I'm going to want an athletics roll from you, please.
Oh no, athletics, my absolute highest skill. And that's an 11. So as you know, I beat it by 9.
It is quite the throw, and the first two vehicles pass over the grenade as they're going.
Just a moment. Patreon. That +2's got to be worth something. I'm using it right
It is.
now. I'm gonna
Nice.
blow the shit out of that thing.
Oh, you're going to make it an 11. All right. So the vehicle's passing over. The first two pass over it before the fuse goes down. But the timing is just so perfect from your throw that the rear of the third vehicle and the front of the fourth vehicle are right within the blast radius as it goes off. And of course, this is horrible for the people in the third vehicle as the rear end of the combustion car flips through the air. And as they're not belted in or in any form of safety gear, the passengers are crushed in very disturbing fashion on the broken street by the remains of their car. The ones in the fourth vehicle fare slightly better as the front end is just thrown up and continues spiraling through the air on fire. And several of them that are in the rear of the vehicle just spill out on the street and probably only break bones. But the driver is perforated with shrapnel from the explosion.
Oh dear.
Did I get one? Did I get
think
one?
you got a lot.
I
Yes.
know.
Very coy 11.
Give me some driving tests if you're operating a vehicle, please.
Aye, aye. I don't do it. I do not succeed. And I'm
How
going
badly did you fail?
I only failed by 1, so
Okay.
it's not terrible.
You do have that supporter bonus you could use to not fail by 1. But it's up to you. You
I'm
don't
far
have to
more
use it.
interested in what will happen if I do
Okay.
fail here.
A brave person. I like it. Oh,
Since Mac is the one with the plan, he could use this hashtag McBuff.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
all right. There you go, sir. Got yourself a buff. All right. You failed by 1. And what about yourself, 17? How'd you do on that driving
So
test?
remind me, with where I am on the slider, which dice do I use to roll for my clone?
For your clone, you'll be on 12s plus 1.
Oof. Well, in that case, I only failed by 4.
Only 4? All right.
Nick doesn't have driving. Oh, wait, no, he totally does. Never mind.
Oh, see, there you go.
I'll use
Why
those
don't you
instead.
roll those with the right
Yeah,
dice. on the
Nick makes
side.
it by 8.
All right, yeah, I thought so. I thought Nick had been in a few car chases before on Metaverse and
It's,
has done pretty
the
decent.
character sheet's not listed alphabetically, the skills, so I'm like, well, I guess Nick can't drive. That's the thing he never picked up.
No, I never made the sheets alphabetically. I'm sorry. You just have to deal with that. They're kind of thrown together like by a mad person or something
That's
like
fine.
that.
That's fine.
I missed my driving check by 2.
By 2. Okay.
Ooh.
So both
Crash
of the
doesn't have a driving score. He's not allowed to drive.
both of the motorcycles.
And I just spent my Patreon bonus to blow all those guys up, so I can't just make it.
Now, of course, these
Oh.
aren't avoid crashes or anything of the sort. This is used for the pursuit that is going on. And being as both of your pursuers in the remaining two cars exceeded their driving scores by 3 or more, they have caught up to the two motorcyclists. They're having a little harder time on their combustion motorcycle, as you in the car are able to just go over the just terrible potholes and any obstructions in the road or just through them. Whereas they kind of have to maneuver around them, as even a decent-sized pothole can be a death trap if you're on a fast-moving motorcycle.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, by slowing down, the other two vehicles were able to catch up. You have a slight lead over 11-7 as the first vehicle comes up behind and just sort of bumps into the back of 11's motorcycle.
Oh my goodness, that is so rude!
And yeah, you could tell it is definitely intentional. Will you give me another driving test, 11, to see if you can hang on without getting spilled out of your seat?
Certainly. I made it exactly.
It bumps the rear end of the motorcycle, and you spin out and fishtail a little bit, but you manage to keep it upright as they are right behind you. The passengers in that first vehicle there, the two, open fire, but with the penalties for an unstable platform, even at a distance of about 15 feet, they are missing horribly with their simple primitive firearms. But it is not over yet, as things get a little worse. A couple of motorcycles zip in from side streets, joining in the pursuit, trying to box you in. And an armored type vehicle that is cobbled together from various pieces pulls out in front of yourself, 17, on the main road ahead, slowing down as though to try and box you in between the cars and itself. And as it slows down, the rear doors, if you could call them that.
Hashtag Wyatt Buff. You know, it's kind of odd that the youngest pilot is in the oldest clone and the oldest pilot in the youngest clone. Or is Nick the youngest pilot if his memories only go back to the Weird West inverted question mark?
Interesting theory. The hodgepodge doors fly open on the back of the armored vehicle, and mounted in place is some sort of weapon crewed by an individual. It begins cycling up as though they are going to open fire as well. And at this point, we are going to go into a moving combat, and I'm going to need initiative from folks.
Absolutely.
Crash.
14 for Nick 17.
14 for Nick.
16 for Mac 7.
Looks like you're 7 at the moment, judging by the
Oh, I'm full
on the
7.
slider.
No,
Yep.
no question about it.
26 for Jackson 11.
Wow.
Nobody doesn't like Sarah Lee.
And 13.
13 for 13.
That's an excellent day on the baseball diamond.
It's a lovely bit of symmetry.
Indeed, it is. All right, that's going to put you first, Jackson 11, with one vehicle right behind you, another one following it. Two motorcycle-like contraptions have closed in on the sides of the car that is being driven by 17 and 13 as a passenger in. And the armored vehicle is about 60 or 70 meters in front of his car, with the rear doors thrown open and some sort of emplaced weapon cycling up, ready to open fire. What you gonna do?
What am I gonna do?
Yep.
Oh, I'm gonna while driving as quickly as I can, hop off my motorcycle. Make sure I'm holding onto the handlebars though. And when I land, I'm gonna overhand throw that motorcycle right into the back of that large vehicle cycling the weapon at us because, well, fuck them. That's why.
All right, that's going to be a pretty ballsy maneuver, so I'm going to need a driving test followed by an athletics test.
Followed by an intimidate test.
Mhm.
Do we have any meta points?
There are
One.
3 meta
You get
points in the
3.
store.
I would like one, please.
All right, 1 meta point used.
Thank you, good dice. I've missed you so. Driving test. Oh shit.
Oh no.
Can I
Well,
make
that's
it an
something
athletics
different.
test since I'm just hopping off the motorcycle and not trying to steer it in any way?
It's going to factor into things. The athletics test is for throwing the motorcycle.
Got it.
that part's
So
not
a
affected.
driving test is still necessary. And I
Yes.
have to roll these big ass dice now that you know what? I'll use the meta point after I roll this part. Did I do that?
Smart.
Or did I already do it? I've screwed myself,
you
haven't
you
I?
kind of shot yourself in the foot on that one.
That's fine. Oh my goodness, I only rolled a 6. That's good. Oh, except the second die was a 20-sided and not a 12-sided. That's probably not good. Okay, hold on. The right die is in here. And that is also a 6. So 5. I made it. I made it by exactly 0.
All right, and give me that athletics test.
Now, good dice. Now I can. Thank you, good dice. I'm glad you're here.
Now good dice.
I rolled a 5, so I beat it by 15.
You hop off the motorcycle in mid-transit, not slowing down for a moment, adding a quick 2 steps in as you twist, and you kind of have to put your arm under and around the handlebars as the single handlebar cannot support the weight of the bike as you wrench it through the air to throw
Yeah,
it.
it's kind of like I'm laying the bike down, but then as soon as my feet hit, I just kind of continue on like a shot put.
It spins through the air, sailing right over the top of the open-topped vehicle, right over both of your heads, and then crashing right into the back of this armored vehicle. And while it cleared the gun emplacement itself, unfortunately, the man operating it, his head and shoulders were above the gun emplacement where the motorcycle passed through, and now those things are not there anymore.
Mm-hmm.
That's some
Is he
advanced
okay?
headball strategy there.
That
It
was
is
fantastic.
definitely a good head ball strategy there. Though where the ball ended up at is anyone's guess at that point. Because in addition to smashing through that poor individual, the motorcycle continued to travel through the rear of that vehicle and straight into the 2 occupied front seats, one which had the driver of said armored vehicle. And now that armored vehicle driver has been crushed between the dashboard and the motorcycle that has landed in the back. And there has been a rather aggressive turning of the wheel, which at that high rate of speed the armored vehicle is going at, as it turns a 90-degree hard left, it flips end over end, bouncing over several obstructions in the road before crashing into a building and horribly exploding as the fuels and such mix together in the very unsafe and non-regulated construction vehicle.
How
Quite
unfortunate.
impressive there.
More like external combustion engine. Am I right?
Snap.
Of course, I'm going to be next, though, as I beat everyone else on initiative.
Of course.
The rear vehicle is, now that the poor guy is on foot, going to try to run down 11 and crush him beneath it as it continues to pursue and try and catch up with 7.
Oh no.
And the vehicle impacts rather solidly with your backside, 11. At about 50 or so miles an hour, you are hit by this combustion engine vehicle. Can you roll against your body score, please, sir?
Yes. And I'll be adding that electricity to the body score.
Not a terrible plan.
Yeah. Well, I'd rather not move. Sorry, I gotta pull it up here. Oh,
No
God.
worries.
It's gonna add plus 3 to the body,
Okay.
which I don't know why I'm doing this. Because I only rolled a 7 when I... So I beat it by 14.
Hmm.
You have some of that speed still going, and kind of in conjunction with the kinetic energy control you have. As the vehicle impacts, your palm goes back on the, you could call it the hood, but not really, or the bumper, or whatever you want to call it. Into
The
sort
metal
of
bar on the front?
into a sort of a quasi handspring, which makes you land with your legs just partially spread over the top of the combustion engine, looking down at the driver and the rather surprised passengers of the vehicle as it continues at its high rate of speed. Passing it on the left-hand side, the other vehicle races forward, and the driver does his best to try and catch up with 7 and hit his motorcycle. But 7 veers around an obstruction at just the last moment, and he kind of does a bounce move through the air, just coming shy of 7 and not able to take him down.
Oh dear.
The 2 motorcycle riders get close to the open-top vehicle driven by 17 and occupied by 13. And both of them open fire with, knowing they can't shoot very well from a moving motorcycle. They're using shotguns, much like you have mounted to the top of said vehicle, and just hoping to get lucky. And the first one hits a bump right as he's discharging the shotgun, instead firing about 4 feet through the air over the top of your head, 13. But the second one, his aim is a lot better, and he is able to hit you up in the driver's seat, 17.
Ouch.
And that is 30 damage done to you, sir.
Okay. Thank you, patrons, for the plus 20 health.
Indeed.
Hell yeah.
And that's going to be it for the first turn for the opposition, and that's going to put it for 7 is next in the initiative count.
Beautiful. So currently, there is a large vehicle right on my ass, and I don't like that. So I would like to, preferably using athletics would be my dream stat to use for this. Try and just kind of pop up and try and land on whatever counts for a hood on this ramshackle thing.
All right.
This will be, in theory, a split action if I can get there.
All right, you have a penalty of 2 because you have split your actions, sir.
That is going to be reduced to a penalty of 1 because of my big kid cybernetically enhanced reaction time.
That is fantastic. So why don't you give me that athletics test first?
All
So
right.
I'm getting it straight that you are disembarking from the motorcycle to land on the car?
That is correct.
Okay.
I will
While
be pushing
maintaining
straight up.
50 miles an hour.
Yeah, it is it's not even a problem. I assume because I succeeded by a factor of 7.
It is very impressive. You are able to leap up from the pegs itself and then use the frame of the motorcycle, kind of pushing it to the side where it crashes catastrophically into rubble, and you land on the sort of improvised version of a hood on this vehicle. It's not really a hood and more just pieces of metal set up so that you can't just shoot the engine and destroy it very easily.
Great. Well, speaking of which, gimbal out that railgun that's presumably folded up on my back, and I would like to destroy the engine very easily, as it so happens.
Give me a shooting test as you point straight down into the block of the engine from a standing position.
I literally just need so little to turn that into a critical success, so I'm going to use that Patreon bonus and succeed by 12.
That is more than enough as an inanimate object. The engine possesses no dodge bonus, so that railgun goes straight through the motor, but it has no protection on it from the angle that you are firing at, completely cracking the block in half and then some, destroying the cylinder heads and going through the floorboards of the vehicle itself, which immediately begins to lose velocity as that motor is no longer providing any amount of torque or horsepower to the drivetrain.
We're just going to slow this thing down. I believe that is my turn.
All right, that is yourself, and it looks like Nick is up next driving the open-topped vehicle.
So who's left at this point that's not been shorn in half by a flying motorcycle or had their engine block destroyed?
Well, there are still the two motorcycles which are flanking you driving the open-topped car, and then one of the open-topped cars is in perfect condition. It just happens to have crash on board as they tried to run him down, and he was able to land on the vehicle instead of get ground underneath it.
Okay. Of the two that are trying to flank us, what are they armed with?
They were using shotguns, but I don't think they're gonna. You don't think they're gonna be able to reload at this point, as they are primitive break-action double-barreled shotguns that they just discharged both of them at you. So you're not really sure what their plan is from here, but it probably has nothing to do with shooting the shotguns.
Okay. I will turn to 13 and say, brother, please take the wheel. And then I will body jump into the nearest motorcyclist.
Beautiful.
It is an uncomfortable experience. You're pretty sure this motorcyclist hasn't showered in at least 2 or 3 years.
All right. Then I don't feel bad about what I'm going to do next. So I drive over to my fellow motorcyclist and throw my shotgun through his spokes.
Can you make an athletics test, please?
I certainly can. And I'm going to use my +2 bonus to beat that by 1.
And then the important question I need to ask, front wheel or back wheel?
Front wheel.
Front wheel. The
You're gonna
catastrophic
do something.
As the shotgun enters the front spokes, it makes it almost the full revolution around before impacting with the forks. This sudden stop of the front wheel combined with the 50-mile-an-hour action of the rear wheel cycles the entire rear end of the motorcycle through the air and brutally slams the rider straight into the pavement,
Okay.
creating
with
a wet mess.
With my second action, I shove my arm through my front wheel.
Yoy.
That will, of course, be the point where I jump back into 17.
That seems like the best time.
That's
Really?
The pain is
I had a
rather
few written
excruciating.
down, and that was the clear winner.
As you shove your arm in, the pain is excruciating for that brief moment before you're able to jump back. And right as you jump back into your own body, you see his arm is completely mangled and destroyed as it makes the same partial revolution. And in that particular case, it's not like the shotgun is a solid object which completely stops the front wheel, due to the fact that the bone broke in about 14 places and kind of just bends and moves through. It's entirely less catastrophic of a flip, just launching the man through the air, but with his arm still through the spokes. It drags him as the bike hits the side by his mangled arm into nearby debris, and that arm comes apart at a couple of different locations,
I'll turn
spewing
to
blood everywhere.
I'll turn to 13 and say, the first one had the bigger flip, but I found the second quite humorous.
Oh, god damn!
That was very, very good.
Thank you. Even though it was actually the ulna that was destroyed, I decided a little artistic license there.
Of course.
Well done, and that leaves it to 13 to go next.
So, both of the motorcycles have been dispatched.
Yes.
We still have one vehicle left. With
Well, we have one vehicle that the motor has been destroyed that is slowing down. Unfortunately, 7 is on board that particular vehicle. And then just behind it, not slowing down and getting precariously close to the vehicle 7 is on, is the one that 13 has boarded when it tried to run him down. It is
11.
forward. Or excuse me, 11, sorry.
Okay,
13's the handsome one.
and 11 is the rocker.
Right.
Okay, I will jump up since there's no roof or anything keeping me in.
No.
And I will pull out my laser pistol, and I'm going to try to take a couple of shots at the driver of the vehicle that 11 is in.
Excellent. Give me those shooting tests.
Penalty on this for
Multi-action penalty would be 2 if you have that. And the unstable platform is going to add a 2-point penalty on it as well.
so I've got 2 attacks, so this isn't a split.
Okay, so you only have the 2-point for the unstable platform.
Okay, cool. The first one I beat by 10.
Excellent. And the second?
The second I beat by 4.
All right, those are both great shots. The first shot goes right to the right of, or excuse me, the left of 7 as he's facing the other direction, and strikes the driver right between the eyes. And the second shot, completely unnecessary but gratuitously, burns a rather large hole through his chest, going between the gaps of the steering wheel. And he is quite dead at the wheel of that vehicle.
Yoif.
You might want to get off that vehicle now. It's going to stop.
And that, of course, brings us back to the top, to 11.
Hey,
So-
sorry, 11. Could you pick me up?
Is my driver dead now?
Yes, the driver is dead. The passengers, however, are not.
Oh. They're just on here?
Yeah, they're on there scrambling to get weapons out to shoot you. They expect to have ran you down. So they were caught quite a bit off guard when you instead just vaulted up on top of the vehicle instead of got ground underneath it.
I'm going to, backflip off of the car as it's going the opposite way. Oh, but I forgot all my grenades!
It's always time for grenades.
Mhm.
Can I get an athletics test from you?
Sure. I beat it handily. More than 15.
You backflip off of it, and it continues along, slowing down just a little bit without a driver in it, just to the point where the passengers have gotten their weapons out. It's starting
And
to
just
lean.
to be a dick, as soon as I land, I'm going to point at the car and go, bang, as the grenades go off.
Good.
As you're leveling your finger at them, they're getting to the point where they have their weapons out and just starting to lean out of the vehicle and take an aim on you as you have landed. And then the car explodes as several grenades go off at once, sending shrapnel and body parts through the air.
Now, did we see him drop the grenades, or did we just see him do the finger gun?
You just saw the finger gun.
Oh, of course.
How did you do that?
It is also fairly obvious that he's not carrying his grenades anymore.
Oh, okay.
I left them on there. I thought it would be hilarious. I
And
should
you
have
were
only
right.
used one. I don't know why I used all of them, but I used that. That was impulsive.
It was very spectacular. That's all I
And
will say.
that's going to cut to the remaining car, which has no motor left. And as it begins to decelerate, which it still has 7 on board, the 6 individuals leap off of it into the nearby rubble and debris on the streets. Some of them landing very badly and more crawling away, and others landing well and running away.
Woof.
Is it our turn to chase them? Are we it?
I think so.
And for the moment, you seem all right, though you've lost vehicles and only have the single open-topped car remaining.
Well, that's okay. It holds lots of people. We saw a whole bunch of them get blown off of it. Super duper easy. Lots of room for us. And we're all brothers. We don't mind being close.
Oh, of course. There's certainly some vehicle that we didn't completely destroy.
That's true. At 17 slows the car so you can board it. You can, over the the lower reduced sound of the combustion engine not accelerating, you can hear still quite a few more vehicles in the distance heading in your direction.
There appears
Have
to
we-
be no shortage.
Indeed. They're just
It would seem
so
that
many.
everyone and their brother is after the fancy powered armor boys.
What kind of condition is the vehicle that had the guy on the mounted weapon on the top who definitely got fully bisected by a motorcycle in? How's that one looking?
With some work, you could probably go back and maybe get it going again if you could, flip it back over, replace a wheel, get a broken motorcycle out of it. I mean, in a few
You know what?
hours.
You know
might
what
be-
it will do is make a really nice roadblock for right now.
You are right. Tally ho, my good boys.
All
I just
right,
want to
you
keep morale high.
race off again, and you can still hear that constant sound of other motorized vehicles as you're making your way through. Occasionally, as side streets open up and you can see down, you can see that there are vehicles keeping pace, trying to wait for their chance to get in and swoop in behind you.
Can I make a repair roll to create a muffler?
Absolutely.
I love that.
I failed by 5, so it's louder now.
Yep, you thought you saw a way to make this combustion engine a little quieter. Unfortunately, it wasn't what you thought it was, and now it is significantly louder.
That was a
This
good
is the
attempt.
opposite of what I intended. Yes.
Hey,
There are certainly many more vehicles closing, though none that you can get any direct line of sight on for more than a second or two, glancing down nearby side streets. But they seem to be either keeping pace or attempting to herd you in some fashion.
okay. You keep driving. I'm going to get my railgun at the ready, so next time we get a pot shot, we could all take turns, see if we could get any of them. Because this is going to be a lot of driving. We've got, 20 more miles to go?
Yeah, that is one way of doing it. Does anyone have a tactic skill or something similar?
Oh,
I
Covert
Yeah.
operations.
Ooh,
I've got battle tactics.
I'll take a battle tactics or covert operations from any one of you.
All right, covert ops, beat it by 8.
Nice.
That'll work.
Battle tactics beat by 3.
You seem to recall and are able to confirm with 7 from previous tactical maps of this area that while non-functional, there is apparently some form of subway system that at one point existed here in Old Cape Town. It was used extensively before the societal collapse.
Excellent. I'd like to send a coded message to 2
Excellent.
and just let them know that we're going mole folk, and it would be helpful if you release the diversionary forces, because people are looking for men in power armor. So if you could help draw them away from our target, that would be great. All of it coded, of course.
All right, you send a short burst coded message. And you have the possibility of perhaps going underground at this point if you can
And,
locate
well,
an entrance.
Before we do that, let's tie the wheel down and get a bit of rubble to weigh down the gas and leave the dune buggy that is now as loud as 6 dune buggies going off in a straight direction towards the tower.
Great
Can
idea.
you give me one more repair roll for that, for your improvised no man at the wheel
I
trick?
think I'll use Nick's roll this time. Yeah, beat it by 4.
All right. As you disembark while still in motion, it begins to accelerate, and you can still hear the roaring of vehicle motors. But you're fairly certain they're keeping pace with the car that you have abandoned. You have a brief window where you might be able to slip away.
Some excellent tradecraft, 17.
Fantastic work.
Thank you. Thank you.
Clearly, you intended to make the motor louder. Well planned. Well
That will
planned.
be in my official report.
I would expect nothing less.
Let's find one of these entrances to the underground subway tunnels.
Most of them are below the surface.
The entrances are below the surface?
To the subway tunnels, yes.
How do you get there?
You go through the hole in the surface,
But you
Wouldn't
said the
that be
entrance
the
was
entrance?
below the surface, to the tunnels.
All right,
I'm very
I'll follow your
confused.
lead. So we
All
have to
right,
get
you set
underground
out.
and then find the entrance.
You set out and move through a few of the old blocks of pretty rough area around here. It's unlikely that individuals make too much of a permanent residence in this section of Cape Town. It's just a very rough neighborhood overall. Most of the buildings have been stripped. It looks very horrible and destitute in comparison with even the industrial sections you were in. Most of it looks like it's seen like heavy combat or a war zone. I mean, it looks like evidence of shelling, explosions, buildings have been knocked down.
Was there anything in our mission briefing that would tell us what happened here?
There was severe fighting in Cape Town about 65 years ago, but that would match up with the destruction and the age of it.
And certainly, before our glory is coming, we're bringing peace to these people. This will never happen again.
I mean, this is one of the reasons the Trinity was around, is all the horrible fighting that was going on around the world. They were seeking to bring peace to every nation.
We're about to make stuff so chill down here.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be great.
And these people here fight just to survive every day.
Yes, but then they will thank us.
You'd think that people who fought to survive every day would be better at it.
Right?
I would think they're doing
so
a
bad at fighting.
terrible
so
job.
bad.
Free
I
birds.
always hear about how
Free birds.
hardy and elusive they are, but they're coming out of everything and they just fight like ass.
It's incredibly disappointing.
Their literature does not do them justice.
I think I'm disillusioned. I'm over it now.
Are we good?
Well done, 13.
It was just a moment.
Very nice. Very
And
nice.
Training kicked in again. Yeah.
We should all look to you for how to get through crises because you truly are the master.
Mm-hmm.
Within about a half hour of searching, you were able to find an entrance leading underground that is not completely blocked by fallen rubble.
See? Underground. Like I said. Below the surface.
But it's
The entrance, never mind.
into the subway.
Yes, it is a descent of several different flights of stairs leading down. There looks like there were
block
other.
the entrance we go in.
Pardon?
I'm going to block the entrance.
Oh, excellent.
Rubble is very heavy. I am very strong. I move it.
Okay.
Very good.
It looks like there were probably several other side little branches and passages that might have went to other things when this subway was in use, but the devastation from above carried over down here, and most of those side passages have collapsed and been blocked and buried as well.
I just realized 11, you're the most athletic, so you're sporty clone. I'm the youngest, so I'm baby clone.
Correct.
Yep.
I think 7 is clearly posh clone.
13 is posh clone, or
Posh
17
clone,
is
okay.
posh clone.
Okay.
13 is posh clone.
And for 7, is he scary?
Scary clone.
Scary clone. Fair enough. He is the
I
old.
thought I was the mom clone.
No, that's clearly 2. He's like a grandpa.
No, you're right.
I don't understand how I didn't end up as scary.
You're doing your best.
It's because you're your flashiest dresser. You have the best hair.
That is true.
It's true.
Cool under pressure.
Well,
Oh, so cool under pressure.
So cool.
one does what one can.
So does 13.
Or one does is 13. Yes.
Hold on. I'm confused again. We should keep moving.
You make your way down to down past where the old turnstiles used to be and onto where the boarding platform was. And the tunnel runs in several directions from here. There's a couple of different off branches. And does anyone still have their powered armor helmet?
I do.
So
I have only removed the sleeves.
Hi.
mine have chaps
So
for
baller.
headband.
You are able to pull up old technical readouts from when the subway existed, and assuming that they have not collapsed, you believe that you can plot a path that should lead you in the direction of Old Spire, the section of town you're attempting to reach.
We just killed so many people and I forgot to grab gloves again. I feel so stupid.
But you look so badass with your tattoo showing.
Thank you.
It's like people would try to calculate how many fucks you give and come to the conclusion that you give none.
It's a big zero.
A big zero.
None of them. How do I make the... They didn't program me to make good circles with my hands.
It's also more difficult when you have one arm in power armor and the other not.
Oh, I
That's
got bits.
definitely true.
I believe it. It's all meat here, though.
You begin making your way down through the dark, and it is pitch black down here. Every so often, there's a flickering light that still has power for some particular reason, but for the most part, it is very, very dark. And then after over 2 miles of trekking on foot through this tunnel, you reach another one of these stations with a loading platform in it. And this one has lights in it that are active, and they flicker on and off in a couple of different places. And there are subway cars still parked here, the whole long line of them, a complete subway train, still parked here, still on the tracks. And several of the cars on the tracks actually have lights on in them, as though they still have power.
What's the rest of the tunnel like down here? Level of debris? Is there any sign of activity, footprints?
There's a lot of very oversized rats, cockroaches, and other vermin down here. There's not a tremendous amount of debris on any of the tracks that you've been on because they've been open, but you have passed spots where the tracks split and seen entire passageways that were just caved in rubble, no way to go through.
I'm going to do a scan for movement.
Good thing.
You turn on active scanners, and you again you pick up lots of small things moving in your vicinity.
Nothing man-size,
Nothing man-sized is currently moving in your vicinity.
but large vermin aplenty. Got it.
Yeah, they're like small dog-sized rats.
That's very cute.
They scuttle away, and most of them seem to avoid the sections that are lit by the flickering lights.
Look how their hips are so wide.
Your active scan does pick up that the tracks here are currently have power going to them, and that subway itself, that set of cars, has power going to it.
So we could move it on the subway.
Theoretically.
We have another 20 miles to go. Might as well take the subway.
Yeah, I can drive a train. So
Plus, you can touch the third rail and do that thing that happens when you have electricity.
I think that's bad for you.
Is it?
no, no, it's not. 17. You're a freaking genius.
Oh no, you've become a lightning wizard. I forgot.
Yes, bad for
all right.
us, but
Guys,
not for the lightning wizard.
Yes.
Look, I was really skeptical about this mission, but I gotta say, you are the best guys.
I am having such a good time with all of you right now. I just want to put that on record. You're great.
You too.
I'll be honest. 18 and I were kind of saying, "Oh God, they were teasing me that I got stuck with the old guys." But y'all are cool. You bring a real old school vibe to the mission, and I dig that.
Thank you.
This is so weird for me, just so you know. And I'll never mind. It's not important. I'm gonna.
No. What is it?
Well, No, it does. It's not gonna make any sense to you. I'm sorry.
But I still want to know.
Well, okay. So, like where I'm from, I'm the only Jackson, right? And
Is
it
this
feels
about
like
the? Right. Okay. Hold on.
And it's a lot, you know, like it's a lot. And here, like bros everywhere. It's so cool. If I just had like 4 more of me,
Huh.
next part would be so much easier.
You're right. That is confusing.
It is, isn't it?
Anyway,
Only one Jackson.
yeah, I can drive a train and I can drink electricity. So this is going to be awesome.
It seems that from your scanners, there's just enough power left to get that subway moving again. If assuming the controls and everything are intact inside the lead car.
We could always
Oh.
could we decouple the other cars?
Yeah, we're just gonna. Yeah, that's what we're gonna only just take the one car.
Smart.
Not a terrible idea if you were working with trains, but being as it's a subway, the front and rear cars are required to keep locomotion going, as they are both the driving forces of the vehicle. You, in
Right.
fact, can drive the subway from either end.
Quite true.
This train goes both ways.
It does.
All right.
Good for you, train.
All right, well,
Who do you, train?
let's get this thing moving.
All right, you board it. And as I said, several of the cars still have lights on. Several of them, the lights flicker, and several of the cars are just completely black as the bulbs have either been broken, burnt out, or smashed on the inside. Most of the seats and the poles in the middle are actually surprisingly intact. I mean, they have a lot of wear, and a lot of them look like they've been chewed on by vermin. But for the most part, they're in pretty solid condition.
Darn you, vermin.
The rear car's controls have been smashed up pretty good, as the rear car's windshield has also been smashed, and a large chunk of rubble is inside of the rear car, where perhaps there might have been a driver at one point, but now there's just the remains of a skeleton underneath the rubble. The front car, however, is rather perfectly intact, and with just a little bit of mechanical know-how, you could probably get this thing going again.
I have a lot of mechanical know-how,
Very smart.
and so does almost everybody here.
We do all right. I only have weapon and armor repair. I'm sorry. Please
That's
forgive
okay.
me.
This will be fine. I was Richard Gatling once.
That's a fact. So if someone wants to try and get this going, you want to give me a repair roll for working on this
Yeah.
subway?
Just to be clear, are we trying to weaponize the
When are we
subway
not?
car?
I think just as a rule, yes.
It's probably not the worst idea.
I'm not sure a rotating subway is a good idea.
Not with that attitude.
All right,
we
I'll
agreed,
make a
so
roll.
we
Make
do
a
it.
repair roll. No, failed by 2.
You can't seem to get this primitive technology working. It's way outdated. It's weird. It's just a bunch of wires, and it's really, really strange. It's missing all the primary components you're used to in working on high-tech equipment.
I'm full pilot right now, and I beat mine by 7.
It's not very difficult for you, Crash. In fact, the subway is almost identical to subways back home. It probably is very, very similar in technological level.
Hell yeah.
Unfortunately, the throttle now shoots small projectiles, but but I got it working.
All right, you crank down the throttle, and slowly you can hear everything cycle up, and then the subway starts to move. It shudders a bit at first, and you can hear some grinding and cracking and a little bit of crunching, and dozens of rodents scurry away from the vehicle as it starts moving, and it begins making its way down the tunnel. Now, unfortunately, the headlight itself, which would give you some good vision of what's ahead, is not functional, so you can't see a single thing in the direction that you're going.
It's okay. I can kind of use my kinetic sense to, not go too fast and see if we've got anything coming up.
That's the second part that comes up as you begin speeding up. And again, the acceleration is really, really slow. It takes about a full minute before it's even going about 10 miles an hour.
Right.
This is so much faster.
But
I
then
can make it go a lot faster if that's what you need.
It keeps beginning to gain more and more speed, and then about the time you hit about 15 miles an hour, you hear from some of the rear cars above it loud thumps. And your motion sensor starts indicating readings all over the train, seemingly on top of it, have things that landed on it that are definitely man-sized.
That seems
Everybody hold on to something.
okay. They got handrails. This is a subway. It'll be fine.
Yeah, hold on real tight. I'm going to speed the subway up artificially.
Okay.
Artificially speeding. Give me a power use roll, please.
5 and 5, beat it by 6.
Beat it by 6. You are able to jump at a substantial speed increase, going from about 15 miles an hour to about 45 very quickly. And it still is continuing to accelerate. Now some of those motion sensor things, a few of them just disappear off of your indicators, but the others seemingly are making their way through the train cars in your direction.
Shall
And
we
then
get
you can
ready?
hear the strange noises. They're a strange hissing, like mewling noise and squishing noises. And then you catch sight of the first couple of them back several cars as the lights flicker. And while they're somewhat humanoid in appearance, they're horribly, horribly disfigured. There's no continuity to the flesh or the placement of facial features. They look almost like partially melted people.
Sewer
Skin
mutants, got it.
deep bright red. Yes, you are dealing with mutants for sure.
Or Fallout ghouls, or whatever. 7.
I believe they prefer Morlock.
Yeah, everybody front car with me. 7
Who's
and
there?
13 just lay fire down towards the back.
Sounds good.
Let's go into some initiative again, guys.
Its brilliance is in its simplicity.
Indeed. That will be a 19 for 7.
Seven's got a 19.
They're in a small corridor. You can't miss them.
Oh no, this is a very powerful rifle. I think it does the ripple thing, like all big bullets.
You can't watch it.
And 20.
20 for you.
I'm keeping this one. It's
I
cute.
see 18 has joined us.
The best sewer mutant we got.
What have you got? 11.
For initiative.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Can you please share your desk?
Oh, 17.
Share
Bullshit.
Nice.
I rolled crappy.
you do.
And 17. What do you have for initiative?
19.
19. All right. So it looks like you're going first, 13. And both 17 and 7 are tied, so we'll get to that next.
You can see my dice.
So 13, start us out. What's your plan?
Well, I'm all in on this. Let's just fire blindly down the subway alley. So yeah, I am just going to yeah. Since we don't have good light, I'm just going to lay down as much cover fire as I can, heading down towards where the mutants are.
How many shooting tests do you want to make?
Let's go ahead and do 5. Yes.
Okay.
Splitting between 2 actions.
Yes, mechanically, however that would work.
All right, so you're going to have -2 to 2 actions and -4 to 3 actions.
Yep. But one of my lovely little features. Oh no, it's fighting, not.
Yes, that one is very specific.
Yep, that makes sense. Okay. So the first one I made by 2.
Okay.
Second one I made by 3.
Okay.
Third one I made by 1.
All right.
Fourth I made by 2. And that one I beat by 12.
Oh my.
And a critical.
Wow.
You began rapid firing. Is this with the laser pistol? Just double checking.
Yes,
using?
correct.
Rapid fire with a laser pistol between the seats down the main pathway of the subway cars, hitting and grotesquely wounding mutant and killing mutant after mutant as they drop down from above. Some of them come climbing in from underneath. Some of them seemingly were underneath seats already and just not moving at the time until the train started moving. There are a lot of them back there, but you just cut down into the first 5 coming through. Just bodies burnt, smoking holes in them. A pile of corpses made. And that puts both 7 and 17 as being next. You guys decide among yourselves who's going to go next.
I'll go ahead and take it because currently 17 is muted. So, haha. I would like to, I'm going to assume that the railgun is going to have some pretty stellar penetration through multiple soft targets.
It is really good at that, yeah.
Great. I'm going to look over to, sorry, I'm going to look over to 13 and be a little put off because that was my plan and now I have to do something different. So I'm just going to sort of wait until, letting the subway weave through the tunnels a bit until things are as straight a shot as possible and see how many people I can line up for one little slug of lead to go straight through.
Trying to line up as many as possible in a single shot. All right, I like that. Give me
7 does not feel terribly in danger, so they're going to have fun with it. Let's see. That is going to succeed by 6. However, I can use my Mac buff when I'm full.
Yep,
avatar.
You can use your Mac buff at any time.
Great. I'm going to use my Mac buff. Thank you very much. To turn that into a critical success.
All right.
As it is the only thing I am doing, and I am focusing on it.
Yep, Max buff lets him turn a success into a critical success if he only makes a single action. So you line up and wait just perfectly until you can fire a railgun shot that goes through 10 consecutive mutants before hitting the side of the subway car and blowing a hole in it.
I could have done better.
Very impressive.
Thank you. Yours was also very good. I had to spend so much time waiting.
What's happening? I can't see.
We're doing a great job. Keep driving.
Excellent. Thank you, 7. And that makes 17 up next as the mutants continue to pile down through the car headed towards the driving compartment.
How many are there now?
Still several dozen.
Okay.
And according to your motion sensor, some of them are making their way across the roof of the cars as well, and some of them along the sides of it.
I see.
So not all of them are crammed into the passenger compartments.
I would like to see if there are any conduits I might, because all I've got for a weapon is my laser carbine, and I've used all my grenades. So I'm going to look for a conduit or something that is current carrying that I could yank out and apply to the passenger car's wall.
Not a bad idea. Give me a repair roll. You happen to be a technical expert, so.
Right, I do. Okay, I'm going to use my advanced technical training to roll twice on all repair things and do it better that time, yes, and I defeat it by 5.
Beat it by 5. You find a conduit and rip it free, which causes a sudden but very, very slight deceleration in the vehicle, the subway itself, and apply that live current to the side of the subway car. And it spreads fairly rapidly through that single car, going back to the coupling. And you can see in your motion sensors, all of the ones that were on the exterior and the roof that had been making their way closer and closer are just suddenly not on your motion sensors anymore. It's like they simply up and vanished.
Zoinks.
Jinkies.
Very well done, and you have put one entire clean passenger car between you and any approaching mutants at this point, and that passenger car is electrified.
Well, that seems to work.
Not a terribly bad idea.
Strong. Strong choice.
I'm going to remember that for next time.
I have a constant current of electricity to work with. Whatever shall I do?
And that's going to put us to 11 next.
All right. It's on course. So what I would like to do is, since we've got that whole clear train car now, which I'm very excited about, I'm going to go in there and I'm just going to grab those walls. Well, maybe I think the idea here, what I want to do is I want to create an inertial dampener around myself and my fellow pilots. And now I'm going to stop the train.
All right, go ahead and give me a power use roll. Twice.
Yeah.
The first one is for the dampener, so that might be the important one for your friends.
Yeah. Hopefully,
Otherwise, stopping the
hopefully I do
train.
well, yes, I beat it by 5. I feel that's good enough.
Okay. That's going to reduce damage to a proportion which will make it essentially no damage is going to be inflicted upon him if you manage to stop the train.
If I manage to stop the train. Train is stopped.
This is a little harder. How much did it succeed by?
I rolled a 5, so I beat it by 11.
That is going to be enough to immediately stop the 60-mile-an-hour progress that you have reached at this point. Drops to 0. He is able to put enough of an inertial dampener on the rest of you that it's only like you're standing on unstable ground for a second, even though you've completely and suddenly stopped. Now, for the mutants, it is not so good for them. The ones that are back several cars are just kind of thrown about and crash into things. And they honestly have the least to worry about of any of the mutants. But the ones that are on the exterior of the train don't have any nice little car to protect them and keep them inside of it. And they don't suddenly stop. They maintain that 60 miles an hour. Now, the motion sensors you have show them all pass you.
Yeah,
very rapidly.
It's only for, like, the train only stops completely for a moment, and then it's back to full speed again. That's why the inertial dampeners are there. Oof.
And then back going again. Again, it's just being like unstable ground. Those motion sensor dots went far ahead of you, beyond where the subway went, and then you catch up to them very rapidly, and they all, again, just disappear. But this time you hear the telltale sounds of crunching and squishing and splattering as the train continues to accelerate.
Can't stop the A train.
With screams and howls, the mutants several cars back begin bounding forward from car to car to car, headed towards you. Several of them reach the electrified car and scream, bouncing backwards, and just kind of just standing at the edge of it, going from foot to foot, trying to figure out a way to get through the electrified car that is acting as a barrier between you and themselves. At this point, you can notice from the driver's perspective that whatever happened with that electrical conduit might have been kind of important, as now the train has continued to accelerate and you've reached 80, then 90, then 100, then 110, 120.
Oh,
And at that point, sparks are flying as from the beneath the tracks, and then occasionally one of the cars several paces back bounces off of tracks and scrapes along the wall, sending off sparks.
I think we're derailing.
Several of the cars further back turn fully sideways and then are then being dragged along. And as you go around a corner, there is a horrible shearing, snapping sound as all but the first 3 cars are left behind, and they begin tumbling end over end, knocking down debris and collapsing the passageway. Of the 3 front cars, only the lead car is still on the tracks. The others are just kind of bouncing and dragging behind it, turning and twisting. And then slowly they break free and begin bouncing forward. As they do so, the car in front has begun decelerating, no longer connected and forming a shear connection with the electrical charge. As it decelerates, some of those cars bouncing behind it and rolling behind it catch up and get closer and closer. And you're looking at them as they're getting really, really big, tumbling through the subway section, headed right towards you. And at that point, they impact, and there's a massive collapse of the tunnel. And that tunnel overhead keeps collapsing as you're racing along, rubble falling just where you were for moments and moments and moments. And then the lead car slips onto its side and grinds across the tracks. That collapsing rubble getting closer and closer and closer and closer.
Fine.
And then the car slides to a stop as the rubble ceases falling, and you're in another one of those stations.
Well, that
this
was
one is not powered up and lit. The entire passageway behind you that you took on the way up here is completely collapsed and destroyed, and only the lead subway car remains, and it is on its side, blocking up 3 different lanes here.
That was entirely unnecessary.
I agree, Seven. It was amazing.
Oh, it was great.
And with that, we're going to take a break, and we'll be back in just a few minutes, guys, with more Masters of the Metaverse. See you in just a moment.
Bryn, I have a secret message for you. I'm going to hand it your way.
What?
Smoke and ichor curl out to create a rack on which several different types of weapons form. Rex, you are immediately turned on.
That's a 13.
You rip it apart as you explode out of the tentacle.
There's my life on the line. It's not a big deal. No pressure.
Well, I do feel pressure now.
That is a
13.
excellent.
Unlocking the truth. You know what they are? They're a great band. You know what they play? Heavy metal.
It's a booby trap, guys. And you know I love those, but it's a booby trap.
So what do you
And
guys
then I
want
laughed because I kept saying booby.
Matt Vansel.
Does it make me magical?
Red card.
Oh, no. No.
So you're out 5 minutes because you said by 5 p.m. Wait, actors are like chili. By 5 p.m. they're shit.
Fair enough. It's a fair cup.
You in.
The following is a paid advertisement.
You all had the stew?
Uh-huh.
Okay, yeah. I need everybody to make an easy constitution check.
Are you kidding?
You all rolled ones. That's okay. It's just stew. They serve it at the inn all day long. No big deal.
Should be fine. Okay. What? What?
Your entire party dies of dysentery.
Gosh, we have builds that should let us survive that, but our dice betray us. I wish there were a way to show these dice what we really thought of them.
Has this ever happened to you? Your dice just hate you. You've tried everything to get them to roll well.
That's right. You can do this. Just let me know what you need. Massage, bubble bath. You could go on a date after this. Yeah, Chuck E. Cheese.
Seducing.
Hey, come on, baby, don't be like that. We're together. And the mood is right.
Reasoning.
You are a 20-sided die. The odds of rolling a 1 are 1 in 20. Now, the odds of rolling 5 ones in a row are 1 in 3.2 million. Why? Why are you sucking? Stop sucking, please.
Threatening.
Oh, really? You think I won't do it? I've done it before. I've done it before, and I'll do it to you.
And even dark offerings.
To the gods of blood, I offer you this sacrifice.
Then you need Die.Club, the ultimate in dice retribution services. Here's how it works, and some testimonials.
So the best thing about Die.Club is that they fit the punishment to the crime. For example, my rogue walking down a dungeon corridor. I roll a spot check. I roll a 1. I fail to see the gelatinous cube. I walk into it, get dissolved completely. Oh! Damn you, Die!
All I had to do was jump out of a tree. I had max ranks and tumble. I rolled a 1.
For a long time, I was just angry at the dice. I wanted to punish them, myself. But it's too hard. It hurt my hand. It hurt the tools I was trying to use. I even ate one of the die one time.
I had so many ranks in balance. So many ranks in balance. A suspension bridge over a pit of lava. I fail the roll, obviously a 1.
So, I send my die off to Die.Club. Now my die is sitting in a jello mold in someone's refrigerator in North Carolina. Thanks, Die.Club.
Take the offending die. Place it and seal it in the provided envelope. Mail it off to Die.Club.
I put my die in an envelope and sent it off to Die.Club. And a week later, I got its mangled corpse after being put through a wood chipper. Now I have time for my real friends. My Sailor Moon body pillow and I have gotten very close.
It wasn't just the feeling of satisfaction I got knowing that my die had been utterly destroyed. I got back together with my girlfriend. I got the idea to get that bike tire repair kit, and I haven't had a herpes outbreak in 5 months. Who knew how good my life could be thanks to Die.Club?
Thanks to Die.Club, I don't have to put myself in danger to put my dice in danger.
Everyone likes Die.Club.
Thanks, Die.Club.
You gave me the vengeance I was looking for. I recommend it for everyone. Die.Club worked for me.
And me.
And me.
And me.
Go to Die.Club today. That's Die.Club. Hurry and visit Die.Club. There's nothing like the amazing new Die.Club. In case you missed it, that's Die.Club. Die.Club. It's a club where die. Act now and you'll be able to visit Die.Club. Nothing beats the original Die.Club, the same reliable Die.Club your ancestors used. You too can visit Die.Club and experience the magic that is Die.Club. Die.Club. It's your home for dice-related justice. Knock knock. Who's there? It's Die.Club. Don't forget about Die.Club. That name again is Die.Club, spelled Die.Club, and available only at Die.Club.
I'm probably going to be wearing a colostomy bag the rest of my life.
Welcome back, everybody, to Masters of the Metaverse here on the Zombie Orpheus Entertainment Channel on Twitch. We have been having quite the action-packed episode so far, with car chase and a subway battle being some of the highlights. But not to skip over the costuming that was done using cast-off strippers' clothes.
Right. Character progression is very important.
Oh, yeah.
It is. Not to mention, quite possibly, the greatest play in headball history of the thrown motorcycle taking off multiple heads inside of an armored vehicle. But as no one saw it, we can't really count those points for headball.
It doesn't.
Yep.
You
It'll
should be
live
more
forever in
careful.
our hearts.
Ethan will know.
That's true. And so, going right back into it, the subway is over on its side. It is clearly no longer functional. You are in some form of an old station, much like the other ones that you have seen before. This one doesn't have the lots and lots of vermin in it, however, but it does have a lot of dust and dirt, and looks like it hasn't been used in a very long time.
Plus, this place is filthy. Someone clearly crashed a train in here.
Yeah. Someone did very clearly crash a train in here.
How uncouth.
It was a 7.
Oh, I know.
Well, we should be closer. Shall we go topside and see what we can see?
Let's take a look. Once we get reception again, check with the map.
All right. As you begin heading out, first you reach the tunnel that looks like it leads to steps that would go up, but someone has blocked it with a makeshift barrier of chain link fence and pieces of metal.
Oh, chain link fence.
Oh,
It goes from floor to the ground, and you'd think it would probably maybe stop one of those fleshy, disgusting mutant creatures, but not so much to any of yourselves. With very little application of a blade and some strength, you are able to cut aside sections and get through. And get through for no less than 3 consecutive barriers of the same sort of construction. And somebody was making sure that nothing crawled its way up from the depths.
I'd like to make sure that we're cutting through these fences as disdainfully as possible.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Excellent. You follow steps then up and reach the street level above, and it is clear that you are in a very, very different area than you are in before. There are not beat up, cobbled together cars, but actual combustion engine vehicles that are in very good repair, driving on the roads. The people that are walking here are not covered in rags, and not everyone is armed to the teeth or carrying makeshift weapons. They look like, fairly normal free-birth people. I mean, they're
ugly?
Obviously, ugly and inferior, but there are also groups of uniformed and armed men patrolling the streets in little groups. They're the only people you see with weapons. They all have matching suits and helmets on. You recognize the gear from your intelligence briefings as the standard occupied force army soldiers.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
there are drones flying by overhead, and very high overhead flying car type vehicles moving through as well. About 6 or 7 blocks from you, you can see a point where the road is stopped at a checkpoint. There are armored vehicles parked there, and it gets even nicer beyond those armored vehicles, and all of the buildings behind there are massive, huge skyscraper-like towers. There must be at least a dozen of them over there.
That's got to be the direction. Look at all those high towers.
They're all very high. How are we supposed to know which one is the highest?
No, we're not looking for highest tower. We're looking for high tower.
Mm-hmm. And from here, you're actually able to pick up signals from above again. You have a waiting message from 2.
Let's hear it.
Affirmative, complying.
Okay.
Only 2 words. That's so him.
Oh, I know.
That's so him.
Very on brand.
Is there anyone more efficient than that old bastard? Anyone at all?
1.
Oh, right.
Rest his soul.
He was the first of us.
Indeed. Yeah, you definitely stick out here, though. So you're kind of just below the surface, not coming out onto the streets yet, having spotted everything. Trying to figure out what to do next, as they look really, mundane compared to yourselves up here.
Not a set of chaps in sight.
I feel we are crossing back into conspicuous territory.
We put so much work into not doing that.
And it served us well.
It did. This is very disappointing.
I know. Well, there seems to be a lot of ground activity.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
A fair amount of air activity, most of it seemingly drones.
Stupid drones. What I would give for about 3 John Stones right now.
Mm.
Are we looking for a distraction? Is that what we're looking for?
I suppose we could be, but really we just need to get past those guys, right?
Which guys?
Yeah, that roadblock checkpoint is definitely an issue.
Okay. Can I body jump into the pilot of one of the flying cars?
It's quite a distance, but you can wait for a minute until you get the one that is within, eyesight that you can really see him, and you body jump into the individual there. He's very, very well dressed. A very opulent flying car. It even has its own little mini bar in it. He's not even actually driving it. It's pre-programmed and flying on a course. He's enjoying a cocktail with some rather scantily dressed company.
I see. Is the car only on autopilot, or can it be flown manually?
Give me a repair roll. See if you can work your way into it. This is technology you are a little more familiar with. This is
Beat it by 2.
Stuff.
Buddy, this is all of you.
Yeah, there's a set of manual controls you can engage.
All right, I crash it into the wall about 20 yards away from the checkpoint.
You go into manual control, accelerate the flying car, put it into a nosedive, and crash into the checkpoint area. And then horrible explosion. Jumping back to your body, I'm assuming, just before impact?
Yeah, okay, sure.
All right, you're returning to your catatonic body just as the car impacts and explodes.
All right, stealth rolls all around.
Numerous groups of the patrolling officers move over to that direction, and a lot of the individuals manning the checkpoint are watching that way. But there are still definitely people, and more importantly, lots of drones still patrolling the vicinity. Stealth checks all around, everybody.
Yep. Sounds like it.
Oh, beat it by 9.
Nice.
I got mine by 6.
Oh, 17, you are indeed a ninja.
Oh, yes.
I'm imagining you sneaking by in your transparent raincoat and snake.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. I assume we were able to find a snake.
Beat it by 4.
Beat it by 4?
It's not a raincoat, it's a slicker.
It's a slicker, sorry.
All right, I've got a
character sheet there. Stealth. Okay. Yes, beat it by 2.
Beat it by 2. All right, the 4 of you set out, and the majority of people who were walking the streets are all staring and chattering and pointing at the horrible, horrible, tragic accident that just occurred of the flying car crashing into the checkpoint. People are asking, how did it happen? What are they okay? As people dead? It's just a terrible, terrible, terrible tragedy. And you are able to get by most of these people and get closer and closer to the checkpoint. You think that maybe even the drones haven't spotted you yet, and get to the physical checkpoint itself, which is just basically the road blocked with vehicles parked on both sides and armored vehicles and placed weapons there. Like they really don't want anybody to get in past that side. And you get just through one of the gaps between 2 vehicles, moving behind another one and skirting along the edge of an armored vehicle. And just as you do so, a drone overhead stops and begins scanning 11, and an alarm klaxon begins to sound out.
Intruder.
Yes. And you can hear bootsteps running your way, and several more drones are zooming in towards this location. What do you do?
I'm going to break stealth and sprint, hoping to draw them away from the rest of my crony bros.
Good plan. Give me an athletics test as you take off sprinting.
That's a double one, my friend. I beat that by 18.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah, you take off like Usain Bolt running. Like,
I'm just a little bit faster.
Just a little bit faster. Oh.
Hashtag System Shock. Let's celebrate the raid from RPGS Anonymous. This is celebrating, right?
Ooh,
Thank you so much for a System Shock. And as you take off running, let's System Shock everyone and change where they're at on the slider just for fun.
Just for
Thank
fun.
you. I love it. All right, we're going to start up there with you, Crash. You are currently in full pilot, but after the System Shock, you are going to end in full avatar.
I'm still super fast. I'm fine.
That's all right. So Crash is now in full avatar. Wyatt and 13 are right in the middle, an equal split of both personalities. But instead, we are going to move you all the way over into pilot now at this point.
Oh.
Just Wyatt is here now. Down to Nick and 17, who is mostly Nick at this moment. You're not going to have a huge change, but you are going to move to be 1 away from 17. So you are almost full avatar. But Nick is still a little bit in there. And then Mac, who is full avatar at the moment, is just going to swap and go full pilot. I love System Shocks. Thank you.
We killed so many people.
Now I can do nothing.
All right, you were taken off at a dead run just as this happened, 11. And there are bootsteps coming closer, drones zooming in to catch you, and the radio calls have gone out and the alarms have been sounded. But in that very moment of him running away, the eye has been drawn to 11 so that the three of you are no longer being watched by anyone. In fact, you're pretty sure that the drone didn't detect you, just him. And him running away might have saved you from getting detected.
Beautiful.
Of course, what's going to happen to him running away on his own, we'll have to find out. What are the three of you going to do while he is running full speed away?
Now that I am in full pilot mode, I would like to use my telepathic reception as Mac. I can detect individuals and thinking creatures within 1 mile of my position and know their surface thoughts and feelings. I want to see if I can get a vague idea of how many people are going to be running 11 down.
You get the idea that approximately 60 are in his vicinity within several hundred meters, but there are tens of thousands of people within a mile of you, and a lot of them are responding security forces becoming alarmed. You're not sure if they're going to begin to chase him or if they're simply going to start initiating their own individual security protocols and lockdown procedures.
Okay. Hey, 11, shit's bad.
I am aware. For some reason, I am running, and I am not quite sure why, but here I go.
It's because shit's bad. Just keep running. Okay, thank you.
For some reason, I'm not moving quite as fast as I thought I was going to be. This is very confusing.
You do still go pretty fast.
I love System Shock.
Yes, especially during those great big action scenes where I'm not going to be able to do anything.
Hey, you're telling me.
As we build towards the exciting anti-climax of the episode.
Damn right.
There are still 2 meta points in the story if you need to use them, along with 3 moments of clarity. And there is a Wyatt buff in the store as well. If you just feel like moving anywhere on the slider, you can use that instead of using it for its typical purpose, Wyatt.
Well, yes, yes, Wyatt.
But just Wyatt can do that. Yep. Unfortunately, nobody else has a buff they can use to put themselves anywhere on the slider yet. And there are about a precious 2 meta points.
Well, I will absolutely save the meta points for other folks. I would like to go 1 away from Avatar.
All right, using the Wyatt buff to go 1 away from Avatar. Hopping right back in. Fair enough.
Oh, that was... had all of these extra thoughts and feelings. No.
Tell me about how rough that is. I'm trying to gauge how rough it is.
Fairly.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Do we have? Are there anyone that is in uniform that is off by themselves?
Not at the present moment. There are still several occupying their assigned stations at the checkpoint, as though they've been ordered to not leave those stations, even and to pursue the intruder. Okay. There is about a half dozen that are still around the crash site that was created by Nick body jumping. But the rest seem to be working in groups of 5, seems to be the common number that they are at, and responding in groups of 5, or have already responded in groups of 5. The majority of them converging on 11's position. Though the ones on foot are, not being cloned super soldiers, not catching up to him at his run. Though the drones are catching up to him as they are significantly faster than he can run. Are the 3 of you going to do anything from your hidden position, or should we find out what happens to 11?
I think, hey, 11, just let us know if you need backup, but...
I don't even know why I'm running!
That's great. What do you think, boys? What's up?
I don't know why, but evidently you set off something with their alarms.
Are there any other civilian cars in jumping distance?
Not on this side of the checkpoint.
How about military?
There are ones, but they're parked at the moment. They're creating the checkpoint itself. They're like the physical barriers.
Okay. I'll jump into one in the physical barrier.
Okay. He's occupying a turret-mounted weapon in the rear of the vehicle.
All right, I'll start firing indiscriminately into the other security forces.
Will you give me a shooting test, please?
I like that it's specifically indiscriminately.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty clear. It's a 6-syllable clarity there. Indiscriminately. Beat it by 2.
Beat it by 2. You open fire into the backside of several running fire teams of troops that are chasing after 11. And the high caliber energy weapon puts decent-sized craters and potholes in the ground, sending bodies slipping through the air. And within moments, several of the other parked vehicles' turrets have turned and have opened fire on that very position that you are also occupying.
They have no idea what's happening. They're just going to open fire on their guy.
Yeah.
Okay, so before I jump out of this body, if there's time left, I open the hatch on top of the turret, take off my boots and pants, and then climb out and just let them guess.
Okay.
You climb out. Several of the bursts hit the vehicle itself, and while they don't destroy it, they do a lot of damage. And as you jump out, the guard that was occupying, or the soldier who was occupying that turret, is now standing on the roof of the vehicle with no boots or pants. And at that point, the firing has stopped, but 3 other guardsmen have dragged him down off of it and have bound his hands behind him and are dragging him off as he is screaming about not knowing what happened and not having any control and just seeming to be doing gibberish. It looks like he lost his mind. Let's check in with 11 on his sprint. You have made it across the open ground in front of one of these nearby buildings, And beyond this checkpoint, you have actually started to get a better look at this whole Olspire district with these dozen buildings. And each of these dozen buildings seems to have like its own courtyard and its own independent security force around it, in addition to these soldiers that are patrolling it.
Okay.
And none of these security forces around each individual tower look the same, which coincides with some of your intel briefing that the occupied zone leaders don't all necessarily get along. They've been referred to mostly as moderately independent criminal organizations that are generally constantly vying for individual power.
All right. I'm still running.
Yes, you are still running full speed, and several of the troops are falling behind. They just don't have the physical conditioning that you have from your intensive elite clone training. But
Yeah, and I'm literally twice as fast as them anyway. I'm gonna also use my action to, while not slowing down at all, shooting one of the drones.
All right, give me a shooting test.
What is the normal penalty for a running shot, a sprinting shot like that?
Penalty would be 2 typically, but I believe that Crash Jackson has the steady aiming for ignoring penalties to shoot for such.
Yeah, but I can't use any of that right now.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Right.
Oops.
So
Yes,
it's
you got a penalty of 2. Yep.
And what is this jerk off shooting score? Not great. Okay. Oh, but I rolled a 6, so I beat it by would be 7, but instead it's 5.
Beat it by 5, and you were firing at a drone with what weapon, sir?
The only one I have, the laser carbine.
The laser carbine. With a snapshot of the laser carbine, you destroy one of the drones in pursuit. It explodes in a small but spectacular explosion. Several other drones have zoomed in, and 2 that are within range are opening fire with their own weaponry. What's your, I don't even need to know your dodge bonus because that was a 24.
It's 4.
I missed. And then I have a success by 3, which is not enough. And then another success by 3, not enough. And one more success by 3. Laser blasts hit the ground just right behind you, blowing chunks of grass and some of the turf in the air. But then your sprint carries you just inside the courtyard of one of these building areas where the independent and different security forces are, at which point the pursuing drones immediately break off. However, the security forces that are present there, which have also received notice of this alarm, have taken up fortified positions around the entrance of the building.
Is this Hightower? I ask them.
Most of them just stare, but one of them, obviously the FNG, stands up and goes, "No, it's that one over there."
Oh, thank you.
Well played. The rest of you have witnessed this happen at this point, but he is covered about 200 yards away from you towards one of these buildings when that happens. What are you guys going to do? There is a fair amount of chaos going around at the moment.
Well, let's see if we can increase that.
Oh, yeah.
The guards that were outside the tower, I'll body jump into whichever one is closest.
It's going to be that new guy that just gave him directions.
All right. And then I surreptitiously, I clutch my stomach as if I'm feeling sick, surreptitiously pull all the pins from my grenades, fall down and say, "Help me, guys, come here, down here."
Will you make a persuasion roll? If you don't have the skill, roll against your soul score.
Can I do lying instead?
Yes, you can do lying.
Okay, I beat it by 9.
Beautiful.
It is quite the play. You've mastered the mannerisms of faking sick, bending over, holding on to your stomach. Several of the nearby guardsmen rush forward to help the other security personnel. And then as you body jump back, you see the spectacular explosion of multiple grenades and body parts flying through the air.
It's
You
like the
just
time
added a lot
19
more
hit that M80 in my calzone.
Christ.
Yeah, it is quite spectacular. And again, more alarms are sounding. Drones are buzzing through the air like bees. Guardsmen and security forces are running in every possible direction. And 11, you just might have gotten an opportunity to make a break for it.
Yeah, I didn't stop braking for it, in case you're wondering. Once that explosion goes off, now I'm running towards Hightower.
All right, and off you are running, putting more and more distance between you and your friends. 11 is running the complete opposite direction.
Well, I'm trying to be chased. If nobody is chasing me, then this doesn't matter.
You're not quite sure at the moment if you're being chased or not. And then you clear outside of the courtyard area of that first tower that you got close to when you got directions from security guards, at which point the drones immediately take up pursuit again and begin heading in your direction.
All right. Is it my turn? Is that what's going on? Because
if you're going to be doing something, otherwise you're just running.
I'm just running, man.
Okay.
I'll shoot at another drone if it helps.
Go for it.
I hit it.
Another drone explodes as they get close in. Several of them fire off shots in your direction again. And none of them managed to get a hit, and their firing is not nearly as close as that first round, which was right behind you. From range, they seem to have a harder time hitting you. And then once again, you break into over some hedges into the lovely manicured courtyard grounds of what they pointed out as Hyde Tower. And at that point, the drones pursuing you immediately break off again.
As soon as I break that hedge, I make another stealth roll. And I beat it by 7.
Beat it by 7. You don't jump out of the hedge. You just jump into it and stop.
Perfect. I am a tree.
You are a tree. Now 11 is approximately 500 yards from any of you.
All right, kids. By the way,
in a bush.
I just want to go on record. All the crap that 11 was talking about earlier about the whole pilots or whatever thing, doesn't matter. They're right. I'm psychic. 11's pretty sure where they are right now, so we should just kind of scoot on over there. That sounds good to you guys.
Absolutely. Maintain stealth.
Great. Hell yeah.
Some stealth checks, guys.
In all this chaos, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just be chill, you know? Come on. I am able to beat mine by an 8.
I beat mine by -3.
So you actually beat it by 1.
No, I lost.
Yes, I know, but you actually beat it by 1 because you're getting +4 bonuses.
Hey, all right.
Beat by 3.
Beat by 3, so actually beat it by 7. So the 3 of you make your way through. And with everyone running and responding to different explosions and disasters, and using what you gained in knowledge from 11's sprint, you are able to get across and into the courtyard area of the tower that he was headed towards. But you don't see him as you get closer and closer. You can detect him with your helmet information relays that he's in a hedge, right there, but you don't see him.
Wrong again, suckers. I am a hedge.
He's the hedge, by the way.
Yep.
I just want to confirm that. Yeah, he's the hedge now.
Yes, I've
fully.
gone to Flora.
11 is fully convinced that he is a hedge right now.
Okay.
And as for you, Mac, you can detect several 100 individuals inside the tower at various levels of it. They have a sense of wariness, but confidence with their wariness.
Yeah. Multiple hundred people up in that tower. and they seem kind of worn out, but they're about it, I guess.
So, I had a plan to get in there, but it's ridiculous, so never mind.
No.
I think.
What's the plan?
We would all like to hear this ridiculous plan.
I want to know.
My idea initially was to use my newly found superpowers to blow a big hole about halfway up the tower. I don't know why I thought I had superpowers, and I'm sorry that was a stupid idea.
Oh, you did. That would have been a great idea.
Yeah, we saw it. You definitely did.
Had killer superpowers, dude. They were great.
Okay, I body jump into 11 and say, Crash, wake up. And then jump back.
Man, you're attempting to jump into an avatar occupied by a pilot. I need you to make a soul roll, please, Nick.
Oh, man.
And I need you to roll against Nick's soul score.
Nick's soul score, okay. Beat it by 1.
What about me? What do I do?
Well, in your particular case...
I also make a soul check?
What is the soul score of 11, and what is the soul score of Crash?
6 is 11's.
Mm-hmm.
And... Crash's is also 6.
Also 6. Okay, I want you to roll me a single 12-sided dice and pick odd or even.
I'm going to pick even.
Okay.
And I'm going to roll this.
Yep.
And I rolled a... Wait, that's a 12. That's a 20-sided die again. I gotta stop doing that. Where's the 12? There it is. I'm sorry.
The thing is, the chances are equal on a 20-sided die of rolling an even number. As they are
I just thought it was weird that it was a 14, and I was like, oh, that can't be right. This is a 6.
A 6. All right, you have picked even. That is even. Crash Jackson, as a Class 5 metapilot, once per session can move someone on the slider one space in one direction. And in this particular case, from an insistence from Nick, Crash Jackson is using that to move himself one away from full avatar on the slider. So you're now going to be almost full avatar, but a tiny bit of Crash is now present in there. It is excruciatingly painful to have Nick in the same body as you as this avatar at the moment, however.
Oh, okay. Stop it.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, that sucked, by the way. I just thought you should know for sure. That sucked for him.
Yeah, you have scarcely ever felt anything like that using your psychic abilities there, Mac. Like, that was... you've been around Crash a lot, and he's never been in that much pain anytime you've ever been around him. Ever.
Mostly because nothing hurts me.
Yeah, that
so maybe I should stop whining that sucked a little bit for me.
That was pretty horrible for him if his psychic readings were to be believed.
It's all about context. Crash, 11, whatever, man.
Crash
Shit can
11,
be,
man. It's me.
Shit can be rough for you. That's just how it is. Trust me, my character sheet has a 12 in the psychology skill.
No.
Now,
know.
For you, Nick, it was more like squeezing into too tight of a place. It wasn't painful. It was just kind of uncomfortable.
Yeah. Well, that was the whole idea. I was trying to get a mental slap to knock him one step into himself, which is exactly what happened. So great. So once he's back, I'm not going to touch him, but I'm going to kind of get in his eye line and say, hey, 1, sorry. 2, you were saying.
I got you. All right. So,
electric.
Yeah.
Power. Yeah.
So I'm thinking big hole somewhere in the building.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They run there. We go in the door.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I like that a lot. Yeah, no, that sounds great.
I think we're all just deferring to you now. So yeah.
Yeah,
right. But if it's a bad idea, it would get us all killed, and I'm not exactly the one in charge here.
I think it is a good idea.
Getting killed's not that bad.
Yeah, how does that work, by the way?
I don't remember.
Cool, because I haven't...
Here I am, so...
Right.
Yes, Nick, you've led an interesting lives.
Yeah.
Interesting, at least.
Yeah, sorry. I'm just now able to properly process all the shit that's gone down since we got here. This has been weird, y'all.
Yeah, murder fest.
Yeah.
The psychic readings from Nick are really strange.
Are they?
They're really, they're like echoes rather than what you get from normal people.
Just don't.
Like they're barely there.
Look, Mac, don't peer directly into the fractal, okay?
Thankfully
It
for
doesn't
me,
stop.
I can't, so we're good.
Okay.
Yeah. But you know, do a little check base now that it seems like all of us, I think, got a little pilot in us at the same time. How's everybody doing? It's important to touch base with the people you're working with. Don't want to stress anybody out too much.
I'm okay. I'm not used to running that much.
I'm sorry, buddy. That sounds rough. I can't relate. I'm super buff right now, and that's really weird.
It is strange for you, Mac. You're not used to having muscles.
Can I, like, take these home?
Sorta, kinda.
Muscle memory.
Okay.
Sorta, kinda.
I can think of avatars that might be better to... You know what? I probably shouldn't say that out loud. I'm amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, big hole go in the door sounds great to me.
Big hole, go in the door.
All right, big hole, go in the door. How are you gonna make this big hole?
With an explosion from a flying car.
Ah.
Oh.
I'm gonna do Nick's crashing trick, but without, you know, taking over the mind and body of the person driving.
I see.
Or
So-
just like...
I mean, you can try.
The car's going, and I go, and it goes,
All right, you go ahead and give me a power usage roll.
Yep, here's the other one.
All right.
Ooh.
You're on television.
Off to bed with you.
That's my birthday buddy.
Okay. Bye-bye. Close the door, please.
Wesley's my birthday neighbor.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
His is the day before mine.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yep, I'll take a power usage roll from you.
I'm on it. I just got to get the big enough dice and make sure neither of them are 20s.
Ah, yes.
Ain't that the truth?
This is a... Oh, good. Beat it by 7.
Beat it by 7. The flying cars are a little bit harder to grab than something, so it was good that you had such a good success right there. And it's less grabbing it and more just altering the course and pushing it than anything else. And as it flies over where the outer perimeter area is, drones zoom in towards it just like they did you when you crossed and start opening fire on it. And even from here, you can hear the screams of the people that are on board as it picks up speed. Several laser blasts blow holes on the sides of it, and then it slams into one of the buildings, that high tower about halfway up, creating a rather thunderous explosion and bringing down bits of metal and glass falling through the air.
17, I'd like to apologize for you as making my method seem as if it was somehow more humane than murdering the exact amount of people that you murdered just in a way that didn't take over their minds.
Oh, I'll tell you.
I apologize for even attempting moral high ground there. That was rude and wrong.
Sometimes you have to just experience it yourself. You know,
Yeah,
I can tell you, but
my bad.
Your technique was fine. It was lacking a bit in style.
Blunt instrument, you know?
I get it, but
That's
still,
what I am.
It did the job. Shall we go through the front door now with the distracting hole on the side? Yeah.
I was hoping for some kind of klaxon. Ah, there it is.
Yeah, they haven't stopped since you've gotten past the perimeter. So that is, they have not stopped anywhere. As you approach the building, unlike the last ones, however, this one doesn't have a huge army of individuals simply waiting out front. You approach the doors. They are very solid, stout, closed, and don't seem to open when you get to them.
I think that's you again, Crash 11.
Come on.
I mean, I can. Do you want me to hack it? I can hack it. I can try. Is there some kind of terminal or?
There is.
Do we have two?
There are 2 meta points in the store and 3 moments of clarity.
Can I have the 2?
Take them as you need them.
Absolutely.
Where is everybody? I can't see your sliders. Hold on.
Mac is full pilot. Wyatt is 1 away from Avatar. Nick is 1 away from Avatar, and you are 1 away from Avatar.
We're in pretty good spots then. We can all touch everything. I made that sound dirty. I apologize.
No, you don't.
I apologize to you for it, not the audience.
Fair enough.
I'm taking them. They're mine.
Do it.
All right, both meta points in the store used.
It's
So I'm
just,
assuming you're moving towards-
if I mess up stuff with kinetic control, I have found that it tends to turn everything into paste that I don't want to turn into paste.
Yeah, no, I mean that's not great, to be fair.
A little more fine control would help me out significantly.
Oh yeah.
Not a bad idea.
Yeah, you want to hack that door?
Oh yeah, I mean I'll give her a shot.
Give me a computer's roll there, Mac.
Jimmy on in here. This one's gonna be good. I can't fail this. I don't. I succeed by
What's the
7.
Succeed by 7.
Very
All right,
nice.
this is really high tech compared to where you're used to. So you only actually succeeded by 3 in truth.
Whoa, I could have failed. I'm so sorry. My hubris almost killed me.
But
If hubris were dangerous, the ancient Greeks would have warned us.
Right.
That joke is credited to James Youngman. It's not mine.
That's
Well,
good.
it's a wonderful joke. Thank you, James.
You are able to crack into it, and the outer doors open, revealing about a 15-foot hallway with another set of doors leading into the building.
Lead the way. Whomsoever should want to.
Guys, we're a military.
2 hashtag personality Wyatt towards pilot. What are you hiding from? Why do you fear the pilot personality?
Oh,
because he's the god of that.
All right, that's going to put Wyatt 1 away from pilot now. He's
very
switching
nice.
to the other end of the spectrum. No hiding
Thank
for
you.
you.
Man.
No hiding for Wyatt.
Yeah, but possible necromantic spellcasting for Wyatt, so I'm down.
Yeah. It'll
All
work.
right. You have made it inside of the first door. There's another set of doors beyond it that are also closed. You can hear, it's not as loud out in here, but there's a definite alarm that's still going off inside the building. There are little guard stations in here, but there are no guards currently occupying them.
All right, 7, you're on point. Everybody else would just take up squad positions, clear the hallways until we get where we're going. Let's find an elevator.
Copy that.
Sure. Let me bust that second sucker open, boss.
Please give me another computer's roll on that second door.
And that one I will succeed by 14.
So even with the 4-point penalty, it is a critical success. Not only were you able to get through the security door, but you were able to access some of the current security protocols. And the majority of the security forces in the building are responding to an explosion and breach on the 26th floor.
Yeah. Wonder if I can... Hold on, I've got some stuff in the security protocols. Let me see if I can jimmy around for that DNA sample. Hold on.
That's what I'm talking about.
Give me another computer's roll.
And this one, I will succeed by 10, bringing that down to 6 with the penalty.
You are not 100% certain, as they don't identify what it is by name, but it fits the time frame that a large medical grade package was delivered and transported to the lab on the 83rd floor of Hyde Tower.
All right.
Hey,
Floor
so
83.
Seven, while you're in there,
Yeah.
would you cut the sprinklers to the section the security system people are responding to, and also put the heaters on max?
Oh, that's good. That's very, very, very good. I like that. Any other requests while I'm in here, by the way?
Scramble their codes.
Right, scramble codes, turn off sprinklers, turn heaters way up.
And reboot the water pressure system.
Okay, reboot water pressure. That's enough from you, Nick17. Thank you. Does anybody else have any requests for the class?
Do they have key cards? Because it wouldn't hurt to mess with those.
Oh, totally. Yeah, just
The
erase
code
them.
scrambling is what he's going to be doing to mess with that on there.
That should be covered. I think we can cover that.
So I need a separate role for code scrambling, but everything else can be covered by a single computer's role.
All right, code scrambling first. That's going to be a success by 8, so bring that down to a success by 4.
It's actually a success by 0 in this case because you're going to a restricted section of the software there. But you have scrambled security codes and put it into a default mode. This is going to make accessing a lot of restricted areas much easier.
And then for the silly business, just to make everybody have a worse time.
Oh, they don't have Rick Astley in this metaverse.
That's damn. I do know it though. I probably can't play.
They wouldn't get it.
They wouldn't get it.
Honestly, Seven, we've known each other for so long.
I know.
You knew the rules, and so do I.
What? Order them about 400 pizzas.
Okay, yeah, no, I can do that in a minute. I think I got the code, so I think I can also bill things
It's
to the
funny because
company.
they'll all be dead by the time the pizza's
I know nobody's going to be able to pick it up. It's wild. But for the sprinklers, heater, and other business, that was a success by 8 again, just as necessary.
Okay.
And then
You
one
have
last.
shut off sprinklers.
Yeah.
Maxed out the heaters and reset the water pressure systems.
And then
Never
for
go
the
to
last one, I do want to attempt one last computer's roll to bill an frankly irresponsible amount of delivery food to the company coffers.
Okay. I'll accept that.
That last one, also a success by 8.
All right.
I ain't gonna die hungry, that's for sure.
You have successfully ordered the equivalent of $30,000 worth of takeout.
Nice. I think we are good here. Let's make our way 80 some odd floors up.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have any? Is there any paraphernalia around matching the guards' outfits? If we've seen the guards representing this specific building.
You haven't seen the guards representing this specific building yet, as none were outside and none were immediately inside the door. And now you've opened this second one. This floor, this like lobby-esque entrance, is less lobby and more of a heavy fortified area that if you had tried to fight your way in, there would be gun emplacements and places for lots of guards to take good, solid firing positions on those doors. But there is no one in here at all. There are some drones, but they are currently laying on the ground as the code scrambling has shut them off and put them into default mode. So there's a dozen motionless drones just sitting on the ground here.
Yeah, I'm going to take one of these into the elevator with us, if you don't mind. I want to kind of jimmy with it.
That sounds gross, but yeah, let's do that.
It's not... Come on.
Jimmy.
Come on.
Indeed. You make your way through this lobby section, and it looks like it would have, again, been one hell of a fight to get to the elevators, past all kinds of barriers and reinforced sections. But the only thing that's here on this bottom floor is a bunch of drones that they expected to defend this area that are now completely shut off from resetting the security codes to default. And the elevator, again, because of security codes being reset to default, simply requires you to push the button and it's on its way down to you.
I kind of feel bad for the...
Also, the new password is password.
No, it's going to be password 1+, please.
You diabolical bastard.
You know me.
Only a Jackson, my friend. Only a Jackson.
Never mind.
The doors to the elevator slide open. And a single, rather shocked-looking guard is staring at you.
83, please? And we just kind of get on the elevator with him.
I hear there's something going on 26, but
looks out in the empty lobby, stares at you, presses the 83 button, steps out of the elevator, and just starts heading towards the door.
Have a good one.
You know what? That's fair. I hope you find good employment. It's not.
Peace
gonna
is
matter.
coming.
And you zip up through to the 83rd floor. The elevator here, Mac, is much faster than the Earth elevators you're used to. This thing is pretty swift. And in less than 30 seconds, you're up at the 83rd floor.
So what you're saying is don't increase the velocity of the elevator. That's what I'm hearing.
Unless.
Might not be the wisest idea.
Unless we need to Willy Wonka our way out the top of the
Yeah,
building.
I'm saying we could go great glass elevator. We can make that Mars colony happen right now.
The doors slide open here on the 83rd floor, and there's again another one of these small. It's much smaller than the lobby, but like a small security checkpoint with barriers that is also once again devoid of troopers. And there is another dozen drones sitting on the ground, completely powered down and in their default state, and a set of doors on the far end of this room.
Peek our heads out, one right after the other, I think, all in unison.
Oh, yeah.
And one of us, out of the silence, just goes, "Hello."
I poke the drone that I carried in out as the top of the 5-head little pole coming out of the elevator.
Yeah, just an empty room. Again, it looks like it would be a pretty good place for armed people to hold and protect, but there are no physical bodies here, just another dozen drones that have been powered down, and a set of doors at the far end, clearly labeled laboratory.
Let's get scrapping.
I think this is the place.
This might be the lab. Let's get scrapping, boys. Come on.
You make your way across the room and open
Hold
the
on,
doors.
11. Are you adjusting your hair?
Yeah, gotta look good.
Okay, yeah.
What of it?
We don't know what's in there. Do you want to look shabby? You think I didn't need the booty shorts over the leggings. I put them on because they look good.
No, it's not a thing I'd seen. That's all.
You know, when you're my age, you'll understand that fashion has its place.
That's true. You remember the whole bit that we had earlier about the heart and the... It doesn't matter now. We're all going to die very soon, I think. All right.
Almost certainly.
You enter the lab area. There is quite a bit of the equipment set up to study different things, different stations for different types of experiments that might go on, and all kinds of strange equipment. You recognize some of the equipment in the far corner of the room as older generation cloning equipment that was probably the sort that was used to create 1 and 2. It's a little outdated, definitely stolen. The occupied forces did not create that. They most certainly stole it from the Trinity themselves. Over near there is a rather large white slab-like box you recognize from your mission briefing as the box that contained specimen Z42. It's about 6 feet long, 3 feet wide, and 2 feet high.
Oh, it's a coffin.
Yeah, it's laying down like a coffin.
There's a person in there.
There are 2 individuals over the top of it, seemingly studying it. Crash, you immediately recognize that those 2 individuals are metapilots. They are not metapilots occupying avatars, but actual native metapilots to this metaverse. And around them, there are 12 armed guards who definitely notice your entering of the laboratory area. These guards are in nice off-gray looking uniforms with fairly decent body armor, not power armor grade, but body armor on, and sporting twinned-beamed laser rifles. And let's roll initiative, guys.
Yeah.
Ruh-roh. My initiative is much worse than it was all the other fights this game.
It should be also important to note that those 2 individuals you recognized as metapilots, Crash, everyone recognizes from their intelligence briefings as Armand Rodriguez and Luis Rodriguez, the infamous Rodriguez brothers.
You are going to get a 13 from Mac.
All right.
Gonna have to stop rolling 20s. Okay, we got
16 from Nick.
15, 25.
And 15.
Okay. All right. I've got one more to roll over here. And we're going to start with you, 11, as you have the highest initiative score as this fight breaks out.
I do. I marked the 2 pilots, so everybody knows, in case they didn't see, that they were in fact the pilots.
Yes, they are definitely metapilots.
Those guys. And I destroy the cloning machine.
How are you going to destroy the cloning machine?
I'm gonna punch it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead and give me a fighting test.
I haven't been able to punch anything this whole time.
This is true.
Really need to punch something right about now.
Ain't that the truth?
It's technically like a DNA bank, so the joke still holds.
It is, in fact, a DNA bank.
That is serious commitment to that particular joke.
I know. That how many seasons has it been? I beat that by 10.
You beat it by 10. Springing across the room rapidly, past the 12 guards, between the Rodriguez brothers, over the coffin-like object, you punch the cloning equipment, and it's really solid equipment overall. In fact, the main cloning bank that you punch is a really stout piece of material. So you mostly just launch it backwards where it hits the wall of the building and then blows out the side of the building to again plummet 83 floors down towards the ground below. And you now have a nice open side of the building up here with the wind coming in pretty intensely.
It's escape route, James.
All right. That is our friend 11. Next up is going to be Armand Rodriguez of the Rodriguez brothers, who turns and at point blank range to yourself, 11, he is going to shoot you with a plasma rifle. Twice.
That seems like a good plan for him.
Yeah.
Well, you did just punch a huge metal object through a wall.
Yeah, no, I'd shoot me first.
I've got a success by 2 for the first shot.
No, you gotta do 6 now.
And then I have a success by 7 for
That'll
the
do
second shot.
Yeah,
All right. Plasma rifle is a 50 damage, armor piercing 30 weapon.
Okay. 50 damage, armor piercing 30.
That is correct. It is a really nasty weapon, and in this particular time period in 742, still an experimental weapon.
Yeah. And plasma is not kinetic damage, correct? It's energy
That
damage.
is not. It is really hot, though.
Yeah. KK.
All right. It looks like Nick is next, but he's tied with Luis Rodriguez for initiative. So you and me are going to roll off and see if you are going to go before Luis gets to go.
What do I roll with?
Just roll initiative one more time, and whichever one of us gets the better result is going to get a 0.5 increase. I only got a 10 on that, though.
I got 15.
All right, so we're going to put you technically at 16.5 because you will go just before him now on initiative.
Cool.
So that's putting you next.
All right, how are the 12 guys in gray arrayed?
They're in sets of 2, kind of spread out, as though they were preparing for someone to breach the lab area. So they're in pretty good spots for firing at people coming out of that elevator, out of that main entrance that you just came out of.
Okay, I will leap into the guy farthest back who has the best line of sight onto all of his comrades. And then I will reenact Willem Dafoe from Boondock Saints as he's reconstructing the shooting scene.
It was a fire!
And then fire.
How many times do you want to shoot there? How much multi-action penalty do you want to take is what I want to ask.
I'll just use my regular attacks.
All right, just going to make 2 attacks?
Yep.
Okay. So shooting tests, no penalty, make 2 attacks.
By 4 and by 2.
By 4 and by 2. Because you are jumping into the body and they are not preparing to defend against one of their comrades, they're going to lose their dodge bonus against that attack, so you will hit both of them.
Mm-hmm.
And because they're using those twin beam laser rifles that are going to penetrate right through the armor that they're wearing, you kill 2 of them outright.
All right. And then I sprint towards our team, dropping the plasma rifles at their feet, and yell, "I believe I can fly," and jump out the window of the hole.
You drop the laser rifle at their feet and leap out the window that you have created, the hole in the wall. And in a second, you begin plummeting the 83 floors before jumping back to your body and leaving that poor bastard to a terrible, terrible fate. Luis Rodriguez will be going immediately after you. I'm going to rush up with Luis Rodriguez, and he is using a torch hammer, which looks like a sledgehammer, but it's got some technological punch to it, and the end of it heats up drastically before impact.
Yeah, it's a super sledge with a heating element instead of a rocket. We got you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And his target is going to be 7.
Ruh-roh.
In addition to swinging it, I am going to use Luis Rodriguez's telekinetic powers to increase the velocity of that swing.
I am not as scary as I look. I'm so sorry.
Yes, but see, you look really scary compared to the other guys right now in your large body with the extra large power armor on it.
Damn these biceps.
Yep. Unfortunately, I got a 20 on that dice roll to hit you, so even with a bad dodge, that can't hit you, and instead just creates a rather large broken open point in the floor, so you can now see the subflooring between your legs.
Woof!
And a 15 for Wyatt is going to be next.
Okay. So there
are 9 armed guards remaining, and the Rodriguez brothers.
Cool. I am going to use my cybernetic stimulant inducer, which gives me 2 more to dodge and 1 extra attack, and plus 10 unarmed damage.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
So that will put me up to 3 attacks, and
Yes.
since I'm back feeling a little more Wyatty, that is going to be 3 distinct throat punches to 3 of the guards.
Okay. Give me 3 fighting tests, please. The trademark Wyatt Maxwell throat punch.
Still the best. Okay. That first one is a success by 2.
All right.
Success by 8. And dead even. And I will go ahead and use my my plus 2 on that.
And what's the damage on the Wyatt Maxwell throat punch?
That's a cool 50.
Which is just enough to overcome armor and also kill all 3 said guards. Thank you for using the supporter buff there.
Of course, thank you.
And where there were 12, there are now only 6. And the first round of combat isn't even over yet for those guardsmen.
Do we have to leave the siblings alive? Do they do anything important later?
You don't have any recollection of them being important.
And they're not. Yeah, they're the Rodriguez brothers, so they're from Prime, right?
No.
No.
They're from this metaverse.
Oh.
I think it's fine. They didn't
are
come up
residents,
when I
But
was
you
here
have
with.
no.
They matter not to the Trinity.
No,
It's
yeah, it'll be
possible that they matter, but if they do matter, it must have not have been significant. I mean, killing anyone will, of course, slightly alter the timeline, but being as there was no huge thing connected to them in any of the previous adventures that you had with 742 incidences, then probably not major components.
Yeah. They didn't come up when I came here with Patrick, so it's probably fine.
Works for me.
I mean, theoretically, the Trinity would kill off any metapilots
Right.
that weren't theirs.
True. Also, yes, that was when we blew up the moon.
Yes, you did blow up the moon.
I'm sorry, what?
Oh,
yeah.
Patrick and I and some other people, but mostly Patrick and I blew up a moon.
Hundreds
Here,
of years
in the
from now.
future.
I don't know why you blame Patrick for everything. That was clearly a John Stone mission. He had command of that. That's on John Stone.
No, it was like a group thing, but Patrick and I were the demolitions experts in that group.
Timeline-wise, it was in the future of this metaverse, but in Mac's past. Yeah, wrap your head around that one.
This is very complicated. Don't worry about it.
The remaining 6 guardsmen are going to go next, followed by Mac. The 6 guardsmen are going to open fire. We're going to do 2 shots at 17 first. Neither being a success. 2 shots at 13. Neither being a success. And then 2 shots at 7. I have a success by 1. What is your dodge?
Take that out with the dodge, a 2.
All right.
Get in the car.
And that's going to go to you to finish out our round there, Mac. You're last. What you going to do?
Great. If I am able, I would like to grab the haft of the power hammer, and now that I am, 6'3", 250 pounds, not counting the power armor, see if I can just jump through the swath in the floor that was made by the power hammer, just holding on to it.
Give me an athletics test.
Beautiful.
Of course, you're on Mac's character sheet because you are a full pilot.
Oh, yeah. This could
but
be...
you can use a moment of clarity to roll 2d8 on the other sheet if you want.
Oh, I can use that on the other sheet, even if I'm full pilot? Oh,
that's the moments of clarity let you do.
That's very nice. I, in fact, am going to do that because I want it to work.
All right. Moment of clarity used, and roll 2 8s on against the...
Okay, so double checking.
Athletics score.
I got a 3 on dice because I rolled very, very well. And my athletics with 7 is a 14. So that will be a success by 11.
And
I'm
trying
taking
to
that.
hang on to it, I also succeed, but only by 1.
I'm taking that hammer.
That hammer and yourself go through the floor, through the subflooring, and now you're on the 82nd floor.
I'll be back.
Nicely done, sir. We're going back to the top, and it is your turn, 11. Or Crash, I should say.
Oh. Who's still up?
Both Rodriguez brothers are up, and 6 guards are still up.
And one of them just used telekinesis?
One of them used some telekinetic powers, yes. The other Rodriguez brother just shot at you with a plasma rifle. He has not demonstrated any powers yet.
Right. He did just shoot me with a plasma rifle.
He did shoot you with a plasma rifle.
It was rude. It was very, very, very rude. I'm going to go pull his brother's head off.
Yeah.
Physically?
Like you do.
Yeah, yeah, just telekinesis, he might decide to do some power stuff at me, so I'm going to, faint like I'm going to do power stuff at him, but really I'm just going to reach out and grab his head and pull it off of his body. So the spine trails out, and then I'm going to whip the other brother with that spine.
Give me a fighting test, please.
It's a little gratuitous with it.
Yeah. He's trying to TK my friends. I don't appreciate it.
Valid.
He is not important to the history of the Trinity. He is but a casualty of war.
Damn.
Or something. Those are the wrong dice. I don't get the good dice. Stop it, Christian. I was trying to cheat there. I apologize. There we go.
You bastard.
Beat my fighting test by 4. Does that hit him?
That is exactly equal to his dodge bonus.
Woo!
So you are going to be able to grab hold of him. And what kind of unarmed damage do you do with that super strength of yours?
Can I take a look real quick?
Yes.
I don't have the sheet up. I apologize. I was looking at the wrong one. There we go. There he is. Unarmed. 50 damage.
Ouch. You grab hold, and while you're not able to pull the head off of his body with that one, you feel the skull crunch in your grip, and some vertebrae snap, and there are some horrible noises, and blood just starts fountaining out of his mouth. And it gets all over you in the process of it, and all over the floor.
That's okay. Does it look lethal?
He definitely looks like he's either dead or seconds from being it. Certainly not functional.
Right. Okay. Well, I mean, I already said what my second move was. I'm not going to change it just because his head is still on. So I'm going to hold him by his head and whip his brother with the entire body of his brother.
So whipping a brother with a brother. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
a
terribly
mother's brother
terrifying.
with another mother's brother.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
Let's go. Sorry, I got Mansell. It's because I didn't get him a present for his birthday.
Thank you.
Yeah, happy birthday, by the way.
Thank you.
I beat that by 10, so...
Oh, shit.
You swing him around and slam that into Armand Rodriguez, knocking him across the room and hearing the sounds of ribs break as he hits the far wall. But as he hits the far wall, he is up next right after you. His ribs begin going back into place and stitching themselves back in, and he springs right back to his feet, grabbing his plasma gun, taking a confident step towards you, and shooting at you with it again.
That totally makes sense. I'm going to take the rest of my electricity and put it into speed then.
All right, so you're going to increase that dodge bonus. So I have a success by 6 on that one, and then a success by 8 on that one. And because
you're going to miss me both times, but only just barely. I'm sorry.
2 plasma shots making holes in the wall, and that is going to put us to Nick next.
All right, so it's Armand is the one who doesn't have the multiple skull perforations?
Yeah, and he seemed to regenerate the wound that Crash just gave him.
Okay, so I will leap into the guard closest to him.
Okay.
I will set both of the guards' plasma rifles to overload. Then I will run up to Armand and say, "Sir, there's something wrong with my guns," and I will fire them down each other's barrels.
Give me a shooting test, please, just for fun. Let's see how effective this is.
Double ones.
Double ones.
Oh my God!
Right.
Your placement is perfect. Both weapons overload simultaneously. The explosion is massive and devastating, and because he's already against that far wall, it blows another hole in the exterior of this building. And though he lives through the explosion and will probably live through the fall, Armand just fell 83 floors to the ground.
Okay, so
and he's going to have a little bit of a time before he's able to come back.
Nick runs to the new hole and sings out, "Think about it every night and day."
And with that, the remaining 5 guardsmen begin to hustle towards different exits of the lab and flee the fight.
Okay, well, I don't have a problem with letting them go. We've got the thing we need, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
You have the object you need to recover.
And we got a little while before Armand comes back, unless he can fly.
That is correct.
Which, let me check. No, he cannot.
No, in fact, he still hasn't gotten up from hitting the ground. It might be a bit before he's able to get up from there.
Hey, sorry.
Armand, are you okay?
The elevators are really good here. The stairs are really weirdly laid out.
In addition to that, you also have information from when you were in the computer system, Mac, that there is a transport vessel on the roof of Hyde Tower. It's how they originally got the Z42 specimen inside the lab.
Let's catch a ride, boys. Come on.
Come with me. We'll go out the hole and up.
Oh, hell yeah. Let's go.
All right, you load the Z42 big white specimen up on board and take off in the transport. Getting a closer look at it, now that you're like right there next to it, specifically yourself, Nick, you can see that it's not all this hard white material. There's actually like a clear view screen area near the top where like you can see inside of it.
Okay.
And looking in, you can see that there's like a human person in there, very clearly not alive, but and kept on ice. And hanging around his neck, there is a set of dog tags, but they're dog tags that you, Nick, like recognize. These are like United States military, your world dog tags, and they read on them Krieger, comma Nicholas J.
Whoa.
What?
Is it the guy from the old picture?
It is the guy from the old picture. And as you're looking at him, you get like a flood of memories that are yours but aren't yours at the same time, Nick. Of Vietnam, of Dr. Lane, Colonel Jackson, Sergeant Hamilton, Thomas Wells. There's a beautiful woman. Jungles. There's a place of power. Johnny Legion. Experiments in a lab. Morgan Earp. Vampire Bat Masterson. Disaster. Dying. Breaking apart into pieces. And then being someone else. And in that single one of moment, you realize that you're not Nick Krieger at all. You're just a piece of what's left of him. Nick Krieger is dead.
Mac, I presume you got that too?
Yeah. Yeah, I read. You gonna be okay? You don't have to answer. I know the answer. You need anything?
I don't know.
Yeah. Let's get you home or whatever.
In fact, speaking of that, with the security codes, you are able to get past the Cape Town defenses, headed back towards the Trinities area. And it occurs to you that occupying avatars as metapilots, when you land in the presence of another Class 5 metapilot that shouldn't know you exist, might not be the wisest thing. And perhaps exiting these avatars and returning to your metaverse might be the wise strategy at this time, leaving Z42 in the hands of these most capable clone soldiers to set time back on track.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's get out of here.
You are back in the metapods, back home. Or is it really home? I mean, you don't even really belong here, Nick.
Oh, I don't.
Heavy, man.
Yeah. Hey, Nick, that was a lot, but I don't know how to comfort you in any way for what you're going through. This shit is unprecedented, but
Not with Nick, it's not.
yeah, with whatever your situation comes from, or whatever lack of placement you think that you have or don't have, I trust you, and I wish you the best as a friend and as, at a deep level, I don't care however you perceive it, as a human being. This is a lot, and I hope you're going to be okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
I'm honestly at a loss for words.
Yeah, I can tell.
Well, you have anything to say to these guys before you go?
Go?
Yeah, I made you a promise.
Right. Go somewhere no one would ever find me.
No, go wherever you want.
Oh, right. Which is, I guess, what that is.
It might be, but that's completely up to you. Nobody will look for you. I hope.
Can you take me back to Yosemite?
Yeah, I can pretty much get you back right where you need to be. You trying to join up with Teddy for the end? You know he dies of dysentery, right?
Yeah, but that's not how he's remembered.
All right. That's where we'll go. You have to see Arena first. If I'm taking your body through, it's the only way through. So
No, I understand.
And in moments, you're no longer standing next to metapods, but standing in a warm, red-sunned area, the sun not even seeming to move in the sky. Everything is set up like a really large amphitheater where numerous people could come together and talk and discuss things, with a single large stone table at the end with 3 seats at it. Beyond the amphitheater area, there are countless open portals and doors and gates that you can see lead to thousands upon thousands of metaverses and metaverses beyond.
Would you look at that?
And you want to go back to the one we found you at. Of course you do.
Anytime you need me.
Don't call. Got it.
No. Anytime you need me, you call. You just put me back where you found me. Put the book back in the library when you're done with it. All right?
Yeah, things are changing at home. I don't know if it's a place you'll want to visit. I won't bring you back unless it's absolutely necessary. Like I said, changes have to be made. And part of that is not using every pilot we come across as a weapon or an enemy, you know? You did your time. You've saved the world more than once.
You know what I liked the most about Teddy, even before he was a king? His dreams. He dreamed the most amazing adventures of far-off lands and distant worlds, some of which I recognized, which tells me this isn't the first time I've been around this track.
Say what comes around goes around, right? So, I'll take you to the gate and maybe never see you again. It's rough. You were one of my first friends. You got me through some really bad shit, man.
Hey.
Look at me now. I was a scared kid who had to take off his clothes to get into a metapod, and now I'm gonna go change the world.
Well, the best student becomes the sword master eventually. Just be a good mentor to whoever comes next.
I'll do my best, but it's rarely been good enough.
As Crash walks you towards the open portal that you believe, with all certainty as you get closer, must lead back to where Teddy is. You pass a large stone obelisk with a simple inscription upon it, Maddox McFernan. Do you know McFernan is Mac's last name? You think he had a sister or something? You think you met her once?
That rings a bell, yeah.
It's Mac's sister. She was one of us. She saved us.
What happened to her?
She gave her life to put things right. Make sure that we could get one over on the guy who used to run this place.
What happens to her? What always happens to the best of us.
Sorry to hear that.
And I guess this is goodbye.
Take care, Nick.
Crash. Wyatt. Mac.
I want to thank you all for joining us for Masters of the Metaverse here on the Zombie Orpheus Entertainment channel on Twitch. Make sure to check us out next week and to, of course, check out Void Jumpers and all the other lovely programming we have. Make sure you have a Fantasy Network subscription and watch every episode of Journey Quest and all of the Gamers movies and all the other hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours of entertainment and movies and shows available on the Fantasy Network. Just come back for more, and we'll see you all next week. New Metaverse, new cast, new stories. I want to thank Matt Vansel in particular for joining us for this wild ride this past 2 weeks.
Thanks for having me.
I really love having him on the show, and I'm glad you were able to come in for our final season of Masters of the Metaverse. You've been wonderful to have on the show every single time, and I find you incredibly good to have, not on the show, but also in all the stuff that you make and write. I love your books. I love the shows that you worked on. I love the movies that you've worked on. I think you are an inspiration and a phenomenal writer, and it is humbling to have you participating in my story.
Well, thank you so much, James. It's a wonderful story and a blast to be a part of. Something so deep and rich and nuanced, and that brings so much joy to so many people.
He says after exploding like 100 people today.
I mean, that's my role. I am the psychotic jester of the game.
All right, everybody. Thank you so very much. Good night, and we will see you next time.
Love you guys.
Bye now.